I think we can all agree that my video for Assassin's Creed 1 was not very favorable. And if you're new here or have not watched it, go back and check it out because we will reference it a lot throughout this review. So in the As I Remembered series, it's not a review of the game itself, but of my memory of it. So it crushed me to say that Assassin's Creed 1 and Altair was nothing like I remembered. So that got me to think, will Assassin's Creed 2 be the same? Or will Ezio be nothing like I remembered as well? Let's look into it. I always start these videos by telling you my memory of the game, as it is a game review of my memories of the game, not of the game itself. Assassin's Creed 2 is a highly regarded game when talking about it with my peers at school. I didn't get this game until the following year. Being fresh out of high school and starting college had me broke. So getting the game late, I felt like I was already behind the ball, and I had already kind of knew what was going to happen in the story through talking with my friends. What I do remember was being immediately impressed by the step up in graphics from Assassin's Creed 1. I also remember the bustling city of Florence and feeling like it was truly alive and lived in. Another thing that Assassin's Creed 2 did that one failed to do was introduce me to a person from real life history in a video game that I could be like, I know who that is. That person was obviously Leonardo Da Vinci in Assassin's Creed 2. Throughout my playthrough of Assassin's Creed 1, I knew the characters were based out of history, but I didn't know any of them. Or at least I didn't remember them. But with Leonardo, that's different. I knew the name, recognized his inventions, and enjoyed every moment that we spent with him. It was an enjoyable experience. This is what I remembered about Assassin's Creed 2 without any spoilers, as it's the start of the video and I don't want to spoil anything for you yet. We're going to go through the game from the start to the end and break it down mission by mission. This will be a long video, so you guys better buckle up. Hello, I'm Mr.Flatfaceyt, the man of many faces and even more opinions, and I welcome you to my As I Remembered series, where we break down games from my past and see how they stack up to my own memories of the games today. I must repeat that this is not a review of the game itself, but of my memory of the game. We will talk about the issues and the problems as well as the technical stuff, but my final rating out of 5 will be completely based on my own recollection of the game, and solely for my own benefit. As always, if I miss something or you disagree with something, let me know and we can talk about it down in the comments. As always in these videos, a little bit about the developers. Assassin's Creed 2 was developed by Ubisoft Montreal and published by Ubisoft in 2009. That's the year I graduated. It's a direct sequel to 2007's Assassin's Creed 1. Though no longer telling the story of Altair, the franchise moved to a new lead character in Ezio Auditore. The franchise moved from its location in ancient Jerusalem to Renaissance Italy, and the Ubisoft team leaned away from the mission structure of the first game and went for a more story-driven game where you, the player, would feel more connected to Ezio rather than feeling like a person controlling a person who's controlling an avatar, like with Altair. Ubisoft Montreal also moved to an updated version of the Anvil game engine, allowing them to crisp up the graphics and make those movements look even more clean. As I said, this is one of the things I definitely remembered was the update in graphics. So, let's go through Assassin's Creed 2 from the start of the game to the end of the game, and see what we think and feel after that's all done. But after a shameless plug, please leave a like if you enjoy the content and consider subscribing, as well as share. I'm also on Twitter. You can find the link in the description below. I know we all hate these things, but it's a call to action and it does work. The introduction to Assassin's Creed 2 truly feels like early 2000s TV show commercials. It reminds me of like Prison Break with the awkward voiceover and the quick cuts. It just screams pick me television. It's not bad at all. We're already 2 seconds into the video and it's stirring up memories, so that's a good thing. Here, just watch it. It's a nice recap if you're also bad and you didn't go back and watch the Assassin's Creed 1 video or never played it. It'll give you a nice little recap. So, here you go.
My name is Desmond Miles. I'm a prisoner of war. A war I never knew existed, waged by two groups I never thought were real. Templars and Assassins. The Animus showed me the truth. The things I've seen, the things I've been. 1,000 years of history flowing through my veins, brought to life by this machine. They're using me to search for something. Call it the Apple. It's an artifact, one of many so-called pieces of Eden. The Templars collect them. It's how they stay in power. And if the Templars get their hands on another one, everything will change. They want to make us all their slaves. When they first brought me here, I was afraid of what would happen if I tried to fight back. Now? Now I'm afraid of what will happen if I don't. But I can't do it alone. And maybe I don't have to. I met someone. Her name is Lucy. I think she's on my side. She's gone now. She's taken away by that bastard Warren Vidic and his Templar masters. I don't know what will happen to her, or what'll happen to me. All I know is I need to get out of here. And I need to do it soon. My name is Desmond Miles, and this is my story.
I just want to say that the graphics for the rest of the game don't look nearly as bad as that cutscene did, and that was not anything other than the game. That's how they did it. I don't know why they didn't make the cutscene a bit nicer to look at when the rest of the game is a far bigger improvement than Assassin's Creed 1. The start of the game has Lucy yelling at Desmond to get into the Animus. She seems to be in a hurry, and she's got blood on her shirt. Desmond annoyingly won't stop asking her, what's going on? How are they going to do this? How did she get in here? Is she okay? And she's getting mad. She keeps telling him, like, hey, we only have 10 minutes before they get here. Get into the Animus. And he just keeps talking. No matter how many times she says, hurry up. It's super frustrating. It's frustrating for me as a real person, and then it's frustrating for Lucy as a fictional person. You just want Desmond to shut up. Eventually, Desmond does agree to get into the Animus. We are greeted by a loading screen that says Subject 17, which is Desmond, and Subject 16, which is confidential. So we don't know who that is. So for the rest of the game, the story will reference this shared memory of Desmond and Subject 16, so I wanted you guys to see this very specific loading screen. The Animus finds a memory that links Desmond and Subject 16 somewhere throughout history. We don't know where yet, and we are transported to said memory. We are greeted by a woman screaming as she's giving birth. If you were wearing headphones when this switched to hear her now, you're deaf. You are now deaf. The audio is not balanced very well, so it's very, very loud. I won't even subject you to it. She gives birth to a baby boy, and then we have to do this weird move the baby's limbs tutorial. What frustrated me here was that the controls on the screen show a picture with no button correlation. So I had to look up the mouse and keyboard button layout just so I could complete this baby tutorial. Assassin's Creed 1 did the exact same thing, and it makes the early game immensely frustrating. After completing the baby tutorial, we get our name. It's Ezio Auditore. Meet your main character. You play as a baby.
Auditori da Firenze.
We are then ripped from the Animus, and Lucy tells us that there is no time to waste. We have to go. She takes us out of the room where we were locked in for the entirety of the first game. And then she goes into full MMA fighter mode and destroys a bunch of guards in the middle of the hallway while Desmond watches. Turns out Lucy is a badass. Lucy then leads us through a giant Animus Maze where there's a bunch of Animuses and a bunch of rooms that would be very similar to what Desmond was doing upstairs. For some reason, even though Lucy told Desmond that they need to be quiet and stealth their way through here, Desmond does not shut up. Again, I've never been so happy for another character to tell another character in a video game to shut up, and then have that character actually stop talking.
Lucy, what do they need with all of them?
Desmond, shut the fuck up.
I don't know why they decided that Desmond needed to be the most annoying person at the start of the game. Like, we are just getting started, and I'm already hating Desmond even more than in the first game. Once we work our way through the Animus Maze, Desmond uses his bleeding effect, which is using his eagle vision in the real world, to figure out the numbers to open the door. Once in the elevator, Desmond asks about Subject 16. And Lucy says that Abstergo have been wrong the whole time. She says that the Templars are only part of the problem that him and Lucy are facing. Leaving the elevator, we end up in another fisticuffs fight with the guards. But this time Desmond actually helps Lucy. We beat up a ton of guards. This is so much better than the first game, where they just pulled you out of the Animus to go to bed. We're actually doing stuff as Desmond. I still don't like Desmond, but we're doing stuff with him. Lucy then takes us to our car, where she tells Desmond to get into the trunk, which Desmond does without complaining. This guy can't make it through an Animus Maze where they have to be quiet, or when he's told that they're in a hurry and the woman is literally covered in blood, can't get into an Animus. But she says, get into my trunk, and he's like, sure, no problems, I'm in, let's go. I don't get this guy. We arrive at a warehouse where Lucy explains that the Templars want to replace the Apple of Eden, using the map that Desmond had found with Altair in the first Assassin's Creed. She then tells us that they had to run because the Templars are too powerful. And then she asks Desmond to join her and the Assassin's Order and be trained like them and to fight like them. Desmond once again agrees to this life-changing decision in about 2 nanoseconds. So I guess we are now part of the modern-day Assassins. Lucy then explains the bleeding effect. The bleeding effect is basically the skills that we learn within the Animus can be used by Desmond in the real world, like Eagle Vision. Think of the Matrix when Neo goes and learns all those karate moves and all the different MMA styles around the world in like 30 seconds, and then he can use them in the real world. That's exactly what goes on with the Animus. Whatever Desmond learns while he's in the Animus, he can use in the real world through the bleeding effect. We then get introduced to the two new people that work with Lucy. We got Rebecca Crane and Sean Hastings. Rebecca is the quirky computer nerd, and Sean is the douchey British guy. Not that all British guys are douches, but seems like in pretty much every show the British guy's a douche. Anyway, Sean will decrypt stuff for Desmond, and Rebecca basically does what Lucy used to do back at Abstergo. Crazy. Remember when I said you play as a baby? I was lying. You actually play as adult Ezio, and we meet him as he's giving a speech. I don't know what's wrong with the audio here, so just listen. It sounds like he's talking through a megaphone inside of a tunnel, and you're hearing it from the other side of the tunnel. It is odd.
Insieme per la vittoria! Insieme! Silenzio, my friends! Silenzio!
All right. Forgive me for butchering the names, but we are going to do our best, okay? Our rival, Very the Patsy, shows up. And Ezio and him throw back in some insults, which eventually ends with Ezio saying he banged his sister. Our rival picks up a rock, throws it at him, hits him in the mouth, giving him the exact same scars Desmond has. Interesting. We then enter into an all-out street fight in Renaissance Italy. The fighting feels so much better in Assassin's Creed 2 over Assassin's Creed 1. Also, this headbutt move is like pretty cool. Like, not gonna lie. The fight here is simple. It's a street fight. Fists only, no swords. It actually is a lot of fun, and it like really helps build the world. Then Ezio's brother shows up, Federico Auditore da Firenze. I don't think I said that right, but we did our best, and that's what counts. He tells us, beat up more of the rival's men. So we do. While in the simple street fight, we end up breaking this guy's arm, which for the time in which Ezio lives, this would have been a death sentence in the way that we broke it. Just saying, it seems a drastic move over schoolyard's insults. Our brother then tells us to search the bodies for money. I like the fact that there's a looting system within this game. I also remember wanting that in the first game. Like, it gave no purpose to all the dead bodies. It'd be 30 dead bodies, and if there had been a money system in the first game, it would have made, like, at least seem kind of worth it to fight that long. At least you got something out of it. I also like the fact that there's money in this game, so that makes sense to me too. I'm excited to see what we can buy, to be honest. Money's always good. We then do a parkour tutorial with our brother, which doesn't feel like a tutorial. I like tutorials that allow you to play or do something that like enhances the story, rather than an on-screen text dump or a set-aside moment where you just kind of have to go do the tutorial. This felt good. Also, the parkour is so much better in this game than in the first game. Oh, it's so good. It feels so good after the frustrations of the first game. I played these games back to back. That's why I'm like super impressed by everything that is just so much better in this game over the first one. I love this city. It actually feels like the people in the game live here and they're actually milling about doing their day-to-day activities. I actually think like when you're playing it, you can actually feel like they're going about their daily lives. I found myself throughout my playthrough actually enjoying my time within the streets, exploring, where in Assassin's Creed 1, I hated the streets and I tried to stay on the roofs as much as possible. The characters here, even though they all look similar, for the time it was released, it just feels lived in, and that's always good. Also, climbing is so much faster in Assassin's Creed 2 over Assassin's Creed 1. Like, these are all good things. Like, this is a good start to the game, I'm not gonna lie. After racing our brother to the top of the church's bell tower, we have a quick conversation with him where basically our brother says it's a great time to be alive and their lives are perfect.
It is a good life we lead, brother.
The best. May it never change.
And may it never change us.
And then Ezio decides to go to his girlfriend's house to get some painting done. Yes, they're going to go paint. Before we do that, we hit an eagle point. Here's what an eagle point looks like, and I will never show you one of these again because it literally has 73 of these to do in the game. It's a Ubisoft game, so it's a Ubi tower, and you don't need to see it again for the rest of the game. I always clear the map every time I go to a new area. I'm obsessed with having my map completely clean of all, like, obstruction. So just know that throughout the playthrough, I've always gone and done the towers. Ezio then arrives at his girlfriend's house where she is literally making fun of him for how long Ezio lasts in bed. You know, Ubisoft, I play games to get away from real life problems. Don't you go reminding me. Ezio stays the night with his girlfriend, who we will never see again for the rest of the entire game. But he does get caught by his girlfriend's dad in her bed, and he calls the guards to arrest us for sleeping with his daughter. I don't know how that's an arrestable offense, but I also didn't grow up in Renaissance Italy. After we fight off the guards that came to arrest us for having a great night of painting with our girlfriend, we arrive at our father's house, and he pretends to be mad at us for being out all night, but then smiles and sends us on our favorite style of mission. A delivery mission. I want to note, even the game is poking fun at this, because the mission's title name is Paperboy. Crazy. We climb some towers to open up the map because we have to, and also allow our mini-map not to be a blurry mess. We then arrive at the location our father had asked us to deliver the paper to. We learn from the receiver that Lorenzo, who we haven't met yet, is not in town, so we deliver the letter to his house assistant instead. Oh, the woes of Renaissance Italy postal services. No one home? Just give it to somebody else. Ezio then returns to his father and informs him that Lorenzo was not home, so he delivered the letter to the assistant. He then tells us to go talk to our mom and sister, as they have work for us. Bum bum bum. We meet our sister in the courtyard. She's upset because her boyfriend has been being unfaithful. You cheater! Ezio, being the protective brother, agrees to sort her boyfriend out, as any man should. We set out to find the unfaithful boyfriend, whose name is pronounced in a way that is, upon first reading, Duccio. That's what I'm calling him. Anyway, it's fitting. We end up finding Duccio, currently making out with his side chick. Ezio storms up to him and says, "Hey, you're insulting my sister's honor." And then that guy goes, "No, I ain't. She was already insulted before." And then we beat the crap out of him by stun locking him in a corner until eventually he just gives up and runs away. That's right. We did what we had to. Here's another issue we will have in the game. There's a lot of conversations that take place while in combat, making it impossible to follow the actual conversation. It's not only the side missions, but also the main missions where this will happen, where you're fighting like a main character, but he's talking while you're like swords are clanking and guards are yelling behind you. It also takes any impact out of the fighting because even though we are punching and stabbing and literally physically exerting ourselves, we hold a flawless, non-out-of-breath conversation while literally beating the crap out of each other. It's weird, I don't like it, and later in the game it makes it really hard to follow the story. We then seek out our mother after beating up the cheating boyfriend Duccio, who asks us to accompany her on an errand. While we walk with our mother, she confronts us about our fight with our rival earlier in the streets, and tells us maybe our rival has been having a hard time. Like every mother, she always has to say, like, maybe it's not what you think. Maybe it is what we think. He hit me in the face with a rock, Mom. Leave me alone. Through our mother, we meet our new favorite person, Leonardo Da Vinci. And we have to carry a box back while he talks about art with Leonardo. Wow, this is super fun. At least if we have to do errand and escort quests, if there's a good dialogue, it makes it a little less grating. And there is good dialogue whenever Leonardo's involved. Can we take a minute, once again, to look at how lived in the city feels? I'm constantly wishing I could go back in a time to see how Renaissance Italy actually was. It seems like such a simpler time. You're carrying a box of art while people are having real conversations and people are milling about and actually talking, unlike modern times. Though it does have its issues, like, I'm pretty sure there was like a plague or something that happened soon. Or maybe it already happened. I'm not up to date on my history. Anyway, but the pop-in is really bad here too, though. I have to say that. The pop-in with characters is pretty bad, and I have a great example of it later. Completing the errand, we are then asked by our younger brother to fetch some feathers. Now, our younger brother must have had eagle vision because some of these feathers are across the entire city. We do this fetch quest, we get the 3 feathers he wanted, so he would go to bed. And I have to say, the beginning quests are very straightforward, fetch and escort quests. But it is helping building the world and making Ezio's family truly feel like a family, with problems, concerns, and wants and needs. So it is nice. It is feeling okay, to be honest. Moving on to returning to our father once again, he sends us on a mission to deliver packages for him and see a pigeon's cage. Yet another fetch quest, but didn't all of our dads make us go and deliver stuff that we really didn't want to back in like the early 2000s and 90s? Not so much now. Everybody just uses like postal services or Amazon. Our father also states that when we are finished the task, we have to return to him so we can have a conversation. Uh-oh, we're in trouble. The first package is delivered to some not so nice looking people. They seem kind of poor and out of character for a rich banker back in Renaissance Italy to be associating with, especially in a time where social structure and hierarchy is like of such importance. To be associating with rabble is kind of not normal. The next letter is delivered to a very suspicious man, and he tells us that they are moving tonight. We don't know who they are, and then he tells us to warn our father that he should probably move as well. Once again, Ezio goes, "Who are they? And why do our father have to go and move?" The gentleman offers not one answer and just simply leaves. We then go to the last place on our list, and that's the pigeon coop on the roof, and take out a simple note. I'm assuming it's a note because you don't actually see what he gets. When Ezio returns home, he is hit in the face by his maid. I'm assuming she's a maid. I don't actually know. She then informs us that our brothers and father were taken by the guards to prison, though they left our mother and sister alone. Well, slightly alone, but for the sake of like anybody who's minor or traumatized by anything, I'm not going to say what actually happened. So off we go. Heading off to see our father, we have to try to avoid the guards because we are super wanted right now, and we have to reach the prison in order to talk to him. Reaching our father, who is in the highest window of the tallest tower waiting for true love's first kiss. No, okay, I'm kidding. But he is in a tower. Our father tells us that there's a chest hidden in his study behind a hidden door, and then inside this chest is documents and other goods. He tells us to bring the letter to Mr. Roberto, who was the man earlier that we had seen with our father. So we're going to head back and do that. Arriving back at the house, we use our eagle vision to find the door. Once the door opens, there on the floor is another chest. We put the outfit on, which of course is our assassin's outfit. The new upgraded graphics make the classic assassin's outfit look so good. I'm not like it looks good. Ezio then leaves the house and is immediately confronted by guards, which he dispatches fairly friggin' easy because the combat is so much better than in 1. When you actually counter, it counters. When you swing, and you can actually like use space on mouse and keyboard to like kick them and break their guards. So this is good. We then traverse the city to Roberto's house, where Ezio is attacked by more guards. We once again dispatch them fairly easily, and then we knock on the door. Roberto opens the door, and there seems to be a shadowy mystery figure in Roberto's house. Roberto says that the letter will clear Ezio's family's name, as it exposes a conspiracy against the family to have his family arrested. He then tells Ezio to come to the plaza tomorrow for the release of his family. To be honest, I don't trust Roberto. Something seems off for a guy who is a family friend. He sure seems to be calm with his entire family's friends being literally arrested and sentenced to death. I know if that was me, I'd be like, what the hell? And I'd be freaking out, you know? He's just like, oh yeah, we'll help. No problem, dude. Ezio immediately heads to the plaza where Roberto said to meet him for the release of his family. Here's a little issue. Like, time seems to pass very rapidly in this game, but without time passing for Ezio himself. And what I mean by that is, like, we just gave the letter to Roberto, and then now we're here and it's daytime, and the execution started, and Roberto somehow got here before us. We literally came straight here. What the hell? They're going to hang my little brother? What did he even do, other than collect feathers? So it turns out I was right. Roberto, as he carries forth with the execution of Ezio's entire family, says he never received the letter that we just delivered 10 seconds ago. Ezio yells liar, and the father states that Roberto may take his family's lives today, but he will have his removed as well, in time. Roberto's orders the execution, and his family is hanged, including our little brother who collected feathers. Roberto then turns his attention to Ezio and orders Ezio's arrest. Ezio, ready to die here right now, is ready to fight, and is greeted by the mountain himself, who easily removes Ezio's sword with one swing. The poor people from earlier tell Ezio to run, so we do. While we run, I want to say Assassin's Creed is all about a modern-day person, Desmond, exploring his ancestors' memories through Altair and Ezio and other future assassins. What's cool to note is that if Altair had died in his adventure, then Ezio never would have come to be, because they're all related through history, right? And if Ezio had been captured with his family, then Desmond would have never come to be generations later to play Ezio now. It's just a cool way to look at it, especially if you relate it to real life. One mistake throughout your ancestral history, and you wouldn't be here today. Makes you think how lucky you are, doesn't it? Well, that took a weird philosophical, turn. Moving on back to Ezio. We then are contacted by Sean through the Animus where he can talk to us, and he says that there's anomalies throughout all of Renaissance Italy in the form of memory data, and that they will now glow, and we have to find them. We find one later, so then we'll talk about it then. But I wanted you to know, they can talk to us now in the Animus. Then the city morphs in front of us, and then we are standing out in the open. You know, super wanted, just had our whole family killed, and we're just standing in the middle of this market area. And then our maid, who I assume is a maid, runs out to us and says, hey, your mother and sister are safe. I sent them to my sister's house. Here they are. You can go that way. Go find them. So we do that.
Sir Ezio, thank God. I've been looking everywhere for you. I couldn't stop them, Annetta. I tried, I swear. But there were so many guards.
Please, come with me. We need to get you off the streets.
What of my mother and sister?
They're safe. I'll bring you to them.
No, it's too dangerous for us to travel together. Tell me where to go and I'll meet you there.
My sister's house, just north of the Duomo.
I'm on my way.
Heading there, it seems that the maid's sister is actually in the poor district of Florence. There's closed shops everywhere, and the buildings look half-built, and or maybe they're falling apart, because there's also construction everywhere to repair buildings or build buildings. I'm not really sure which way it goes because none of the construction actually moves. Once again, Assassin's Creed does a great job of telling a story without actual words. They use the city and the world around it to tell you the story. The world building is incredible. We then arrive at the sister's house, which is actually a brothel, fun fact, and we meet the mistress. And she tells us that our family is safe within the brothel, but we can't see them right now as they're upset. I do have to say Ezio is a bit easily trusting here. For the last person, Roberto, who was a trusted family friend, just finished killing his father and brother. Ezio then tells the mistress that he must leave to kill Roberto. The mistress explains to Ezio that this would be a dumb decision, as he is not ready to kill Roberto, because he knows nothing at all about killing or surviving. She then offers to teach Ezio how to survive through that he can learn to kill. It's weird because we've already killed like 7 guards. I'm just saying. We do know how to kill, lady. The mistress then takes Ezio outside to the garden where a bunch of fellow ladies of the night are milling about. She teaches us to blend with the crowds as they stand around. She also teaches us to blend with moving crowds. I like this so much better than Assassin's Creed 1. It seems more seamless and real to be able to like blend with a crowd as it traverses and merges through the city than in the first one where we had to go seek out a specific group and then merge with them and walk. This is better. This is better, people. He then teaches us to steal, but thank God it's not like Assassin's Creed 1. You simply have to bump into people in this game to steal. That's more true to life with the pickpocketing artists of today than the whole like walk behind them with your hand out and reach into their pouch. This is so much better than Assassin's Creed 1. Assassin's Creed 2 is so much better than Assassin's Creed 1. We can safely say that right now at the beginning of this. Mistress then rewards Ezio with his father's hidden blade. So I think it's safe to say our father and older brother were both assassins, and the little brother just kind of got roped into it for just being a male within the Ezio's family. He informs us that the blade is broken and we must go see Leonardo Da Vinci to have it repaired. Ezio, finally not just blindly following this lady of the night, asks why is she helping him? And she responds with, she knows betrayal. That really cleared up nothing, but I guess it was an answer. For the first time, he got an answer.
I assume you're familiar with Leonardo da Vinci.
See, but how does a painter factor into this?
He's far more than that. Bring him the pieces. You'll see.
Before I go, one last question, if I may.
Of course.
Why have you given your aid so readily to me, a stranger?
I too know betrayal.
So, we head off to the legend himself, Leonardo da Vinci. On our way to Leonardo's house, we get spotted by guards. No, this is not a complaint, but if this game goes the way of Assassin's Creed 1 where you're spotted non-stop, I will complain later, and you mark my words on it. We dispatch the guards who spotted us, and then we carry on to Leonardo's house. Check this out. As we flee from the guards, other guards literally spawn in front of us. Like, I'm talking they just pop in. Not good. The pop in is pretty bad, but it will become brutal if this continues to happen. It will make the game unplayable if, as you're trying to flee, they just pop up in front of you. It reminds me of Cyberpunk, where the cops would spawn in the bathroom beside you in a house. I'm very forgiving with glitches and bugs if I find them. I do find them entertaining, but this seems more like a broken code than anything. Ezio then arrives at Leonardo's house, where we get him to repair our father's hidden blade. Leonardo goes on a tropey genius rant of how he figures it all out, and then he fixes the hidden blade. He then says that the blade requires a sacrifice of the ring finger of the wearer. Ezio, without really thinking, just says, go ahead, cut it off. Leonardo says it was a joke and that he had modified the hidden blade to no longer remove the finger of the wearer. That's a nice thing. Good job, Leo. Then some guards show up to take Leonardo for questioning about his connection to Ezio and his family. They beat him up in the courtyard beside his house, but Leonardo doesn't give in. He ain't no snitch. Enter the tutorial. It does not feel like a tutorial. We sneak up behind the guard, and we use our hidden blade to kill said guard. Leonardo says that he will take the body into his study so we can carry it there for him. If you remember from school, Leonardo helped with modern biology with his studies of the human body by dissecting dead ones and taking bodies from the city morgue. So you just got to be a part of history there, ladies and gentlemen, in a video game. Kind of neat, eh? Ezio then heads back to the mistress's house. While we're on our way over there, let's take a minute to talk about the shops within Assassin's Creed 2. Assassin's Creed 2 has shops to spend money at. You got a blacksmith for armor and weapons, a tailor to change the way you look and increase your pouch capacity, and an artisan to buy paintings from. And the doctor? Well, he's for healing, and you'll use the doctor the most out of the three. Well, I guess blacksmith would be a close second. Once we arrive at the brothel, we see one of those symbols on the roof. We use our eagle vision to activate it, and it turns out it's memories in the computer files there left by Subject 16.
This is... They call me Subject 16. Listen, I don't have much time. There's something I have to show you. We have been lied to this whole time. Everything we know, everything we've been brought up to believe, it's wrong. Okay, I've uploaded the evidence, the file that proves it all. But I've split it into 20 pieces and locked each with a code. Can't be too careful. Queen Isabella. No, not her. What century is it? Never mind. I've hidden the code to the first file inside this program. Find it. Find them all. And along the way, you'll begin to see the truth.
What the heck? How did this get inside our Animus?
Oh, the memory core. We transferred 16's memory data from Abstergo into the Animus 2.0. He must have hacked the machine when Vidic left him alone between sessions.
Oh, hold on, wait a second. The signs on the walls in Abstergo, the ones written in blood, those were clues. He was telling us to look for them inside the Animus.
These are little puzzles you can do, like rotating messed up pictures to make a picture whole, or other things like sometimes it's just finding the weapon that's in common between the pictures. Once completed, you unlock a piece of Subject 16's truth. I will find some more of these, but not all of them, so I really don't want to talk about it too much, because this is like a sub thing that just fills time. I just thought you should maybe know that they exist. Once we get inside the brothel, the mistress tells us that we are now ready to kill Roberto. She even tells us where Roberto will be located. But Roberto will be at an art show in the rich part of Santa Croce. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but we said it.
Leonardo's given you the blade. All that remains is the deed.
Where can I find Roberto?
According to my girls, he'll be attending an unveiling tonight of Verrocchio's latest work. It will be held at the Santa Croce cloister.
Watch over my mother and sister while I'm away.
Of course, Ezio. As if they were my own.
Arriving at the art show that Roberto is attending, we can hear Roberto arguing with Lorenzo, the man we were supposed to deliver the letter to earlier in the video, but we ended up giving it to his house assistant. He's arguing with him about power. Lorenzo tells Roberto that he has overstepped his boundaries. Probably, I'm assuming, with killing in the entire Ezio family. I'm not sure if they're talking about Ezio's family or not, but we're going to assume that they are. We then must sneak into the art show. This is fairly easy. This is fairly simple. Climb up the wall, then drop in. We can hear Roberto mingling around with the crowd, and he's now talking about how Ezio's family is obviously traitors and that they just need to capture Ezio, and he's obviously playing down his own role in that conspiracy, which you would if you were the bad guy. We rush over to him and stab the crap out of him, and I mean stab the crap out of him. And then Ezio yells at the crowd that his family is not dead and that he is very much alive, and that he will seek out justice for all that had wronged him.
You would have done the same. To save the ones you love.
Yes, I would. And I have. The Auditori are not dead! I'm still here! Me! Ezio! Ezio Auditore!
We then flee, as an assassin should. Assassins obviously murder people in an open art show, then yell at the entire crowd how they just murdered this guy and they will continue to murder, and then they flee. I guess Ezio is new to assassin-like-y stuff, so he doesn't really know any better, so we'll give him a break on this one, you know? Back at the brothel, we are greeted by the mistress once again. We inform her that we will be taking our mother and sister to our Uncle Mario's villa. So the mistress informs us that first we have to make the city forget about us. This is where we learned the notoriety system. Basically, to sum it up in very simple terms, the more bad deeds you do, the more likely the guards are to chase you. To remove notoriety, you need to bribe a town crier, rip down wanted posters, or the last option is to kill a witness. This is all pretty simple stuff, but you do these and you will lower your notoriety, and then that will make it so you can travel through the city easier. God, how Assassin's Creed 1 needed a system like this. Especially late game Assassin's Creed 1 where you could barely move without getting hunted. We then lower our notoriety and return to the brothel where we finally get to be reunited with our mother and sister. Our sister Claudia says that her mother has not spoken since the death of her husband and 2 children, which, to be honest, is understandable. One minute she had a happy family and the next she lost everything, so I get it. We then tell Claudia to watch over mother while we travel out of the city. Time to set off on our adventure. We escort the family through the city all the way to the gates. While on our travels, though, it seems the game could not load in the NPCs that mill about the city, because as we can walk, we can literally see people popping into existence in front of us and then going about their daily lives, like sitting down or walking over to a store. Oh well, it didn't stop progress, so we get to move on.
I don't know.
Were they given a proper burial?
Yes, they were.
Arriving outside our uncle's villa, Notoriety shows up to block our path and attack us. Though this time he's not looking for a fist fight, he's looking for blood. Uncle Mario shows up with some men and he tosses Ezio's sword. Time for battle. The clashing of swords and yelling of men and the satisfaction of slicing through your enemies. We finally, eventually win. And at the end of it all, our uncle says this.
It's a me, Mario!
Now to be honest, if they didn't, I would have been mad. Ezio and the game then arrive at the villa. Though it feels more like a castle, to be honest, like this villa is huge. We get to explore the villa a bit as our uncle sends us to the market to acquire goods in a minute. And then we report back to our uncle and he informs us that we need to finish our father's work. The work he does, though, he does not explain. So Ezio still knows nothing about anything. Nobody gives Ezio any damn answers in this game. So using our power of deduction, we can pretty much assume it has to do with the Templars and being an assassin. You know, up to this point, the tutorials have never felt like a tutorial. It's always been a smooth transition into something that pushes the story along. Until Uncle Mario wants us to train in the training circle, then now we're just kind of stuck here and we have to do the tutorials. I don't like it when games do this. Though, this gives me a perfect opportunity to show you what I meant earlier when they will talk while you're fighting.
Was an assassin.
I told you before. My father was a paper pusher.
No, he was born and bred to.
I find this difficult to believe.
What of the list you carry? Do you think...
Now, granted, Mario is outside the circle, but he is talking to us while we are fighting another man, and I'm having to, look at this guy's cues, listen to what this guy's saying, and as well press buttons and, do the tutorial. And Mario's over here just monologue dumping on us a bunch of stuff that we need to also know. So, with that being said, he talked the entire time we did the tutorial. So we finished the tutorial and we get to move on. And what he said, I don't even know. I'm not even going to try to sum it up for you guys. If the game couldn't take the time to separate the two audios or make it so you didn't do a tutorial while he did this monologue dump, then I would have taken the time. But they didn't, so I won't. So we also do need to address a couple things. The pop-in is really, really bad. Obviously, we've addressed this a few times. The other issue is in this game is time. All I did was walk up these stairs after finishing the fighting in the circle with my uncle. And in that amount of time, 10 days have passed. 10 days have passed for everyone else, but for us, we walked up a staircase. My uncle even references that he has seen us rummaging through his library, but at no point have we even been in the library. We have simply gone up to the villa, met with our uncle, trained with our uncle, and then went back up to the villa, and somehow 10 days has passed. So everyone else aged 10 days, Ezio stayed the exact same because he only walked up the stairs. Either that or we are way slower than we thought. The speed in which the game passes time will become worse and worse as the game goes on. Sometimes it'll be a literal year in between us doing one mission to another, and all we did was walk 10 feet. Okay, moving on. Our uncle asks Ezio if he's going to stay, and Ezio says no. Mario then loses it, and Ezio has no idea why. But the guy that we'd been training with says that our uncle has been being harassed by Da since we had arrived. This is what I mean. When was he harassed? We have seen nothing. We have heard nothing. We have witnessed nothing. Our uncle hasn't even referenced it. We haven't even left the villa, for Ezio has literally been with the uncle the entire time. But for everyone else, it's weeks or months are passing in between us doing these simple dialogues. It simply feels like the game is rushing where it doesn't need to rush, because it kind of just feels like we're picking up pieces along the way. Like we're the ones getting left behind.
Can he not be? Vieri's been harassing us ever since you first arrived. To be expected, I suppose, given his heritage.
We then follow our uncle up to the library where we assumed he would be, but instead of our uncle being there, the training guide's there, and he says our uncle is left for a battle with Da. Like, what in the hell? We literally followed him. He left. We followed him up the stairs. Like, there was like 10 feet between us, like, boom. And now all of a sudden, he's not only raised an army, he's also left for another city in Tuscany to then go fight another dude. And all for us, it's been like 2 seconds. This is what I mean. It's just going so goddamn fast. Well, I guess we should probably head off to catch up to our time-traveling uncle in Tuscany. Arriving in Tuscany, we find our uncle, and he informs us that we are about to fight the Templars and their entire order. You see, our hunch from earlier was right. Uncle wants us to assault the southern gate of the city and asks if Ezio will join. Thankfully, Ezio agrees before we have to walk up another staircase and accidentally die of old age. Alright, here's another issue we're going to have. The vibe in the cities that are under siege is super weird. Here's a city that is literally under attack from two warring factions, the Templars and the Assassins, and a literal war is happening within its city walls. And the merchants are still slinging their goods and yelling about discounts.
When you should follow. We're meant to be soldiers.
And the town criers are still crying about all the news that's happening around the world, not even the battle that's happening in the city. There's also guards just chilling and talking about weather, and while literally one street over is an entire battle happening that they should probably go deal with. It's just odd. We'll see a better example of this later, and I will give you a solution to it then, because a criticism without a solution is just complaining. Once we get to the city gate, we see all the big honchos talking to the maestro, or the Spaniard, or the Pope, eventually. The guy with the hood on from earlier with Roberto has a lot of names throughout here. We're going to call him the Maestro, okay? All right. So they're talking about how they're going to deal with Mario and Ezio. And then once that cutscene ends, a guard runs over and informs Veri that Mario is here to kill him.
Comandante! What? Mario Auditore has invaded the city. He comes for you.
Then let's not keep him waiting.
How he missed the entire massacre happening throughout the city, I don't know. But Veri heads over to fight Mario. At least he's not a coward. We end up helping our uncle fight off Veri's men, and eventually end up killing Da on the top of the tower. In a little Animus cutscene, we ask Veri what his plans was, and Veri offers no answers, so our uncle gives Veri a death chant.
Is this what my father discovered? Is this why he was killed?
I'm sorry. Were you hoping for a confession?
Pezzo di merda! Vorrei solo che avessi sofferto di più! Hai avuto la fine che meritavi! Spero che
Enough, Ezio! Show some respect.
Respect? After all that's happened, do you think he would have shown either of us such kindness?
You are not Vieri. Do not become him. Che la morte ti dia le pace che cercavi. Requiesca in pace. Take this. Read it when you have the time. Our work here is finished. Let us return to the villa.
And says, our work here is done. We then set off back to the villa. We return to the villa and meet our uncle outside the training circle, where he is currently celebrating the win in Tuscany. Mario asks Ezio to join him on a walk, which of course Ezio obliges him to, because if we didn't, we wouldn't be able to carry on the story. I don't even know why it gives you an option. Mario offers Ezio some advice on the Templars and asks what Ezio will do now. Ezio says he will kill all the Templars until he kills the one that is responsible for the death of his family. Mario then gives us a letter. Here is what the letter said.
Messer Francesco, I have done as requested and spoken with your son. I agree with your assessment, though only in part. Yes, Vieri is brash and prone to act without forethought. And he has a habit of treating the mercenari like playthings. I have received reports of at least 3 men being disfigured as a result. But I do not think him, as you put it, beyond repair. Rather, I believe the solution to be a simple matter. He seeks your approval, your attention. These outbursts of his are a result of insecurities born out of a sense of inadequacy. He speaks of you often and fondly, and expresses a desire to be closer to you. So, if he is loud and foul and angry, I believe it is simply because he wants to be noticed. He wants to be loved. Act as you see fit on the information I've given you here. But I must ask that we end this correspondence. Were he to discover the nature of our conversations, I fear what might become of me. Yours in confidence, Fra Giocondo.
We meet Uncle Mario in his study. He shows us the codex wall he and our father were making in his youth. He explains to us that he believes the codex pages make a secret map, and that if the prophecy of Altair is to be believed, then this map will lead the assassins to a powerful artifact. Mario believes it may be another piece of Eden, like the apple. We can find codex pages all over the world of Assassin's Creed 2, and we have to complete them all 30 of them, in order to unlock the final mission of the game. I won't show you guys me getting them all, but to complete the game I have to get them, so you'll just know that I got them. Our next mission is to collect codex pages. These codex pages are different than the ones that we'll find out throughout the world. The ones in the cities are guarded, and you have to fight your way to collecting them. The ones that we find in the villa are just kind of there. So we set off to collect some pages. There are 3 pages within the villa itself, and 1 page off to the left outside the villa. We collect these, and we go in to talk to Claudia. Claudia says that she has been tasked by Mario to fix up the villa. She's not happy about this either, and make it profitable again. Fixing up the villa will bring people to the villa who will spend money. That money will be put into a chest, and Ezio can come back and get it later to spend on armor and weapons, and or just to increase the villa more. I really like this game mechanic, as it feels we actually have a role in this villa, and we get to help the world build. Upgrading buildings not only increases the villa's income, but also changes the look of the villa. Once again, I love a game where my actions have real effects on the world, so I'm definitely here for this mechanic. We then head over to the architect, and the architect needs our money to fix the villa, of course. He then shows us a model of the villa with all the places we can upgrade. The system is super cool, so we do a couple of upgrades with the money, and then we head on with our adventure. Ezio meets his uncle in his study, of course, and he takes us under the villa's house to show us the Assassin's Sanctuary. Basically, the Assassin's Sanctuary is a search for seals so we can unlock Altair's armor. We do this, but I'll insert the clip of us opening the final one near the end, because one of them is tied to the actual story, so it'll just be easier to do it all at once. There's a lot of stuff to collect in this game. You got to get feathers, seals, codex pages, armor pieces, weapons, arts, and outfit. It's a lot of filler stuff. We do some of this stuff, but not all of it. Otherwise, this review would be like 30 hours long. We then leave the villa in hopes of avenging our family. Okay, unfortunately, I had a data corruption in the recording, so until we meet the fox, I'll just explain to you while I run around doing tasks within Florence itself. Sounds fair? Alright, let's go. We arrived in Florence and headed straight to Leonardo's house. We got Leonardo to decipher the codex pages that we had just found at the villa, which gives us more health and sometimes new weapons. We then ask him where we can find the fox, the leader of the Thieves Guild. We're hoping that the leader of the Thieves Guild can give us some more information on our next target. The fox's name, by the way, is Lavolpe. The fox tells us about a secret meeting place that he knows, where the leaders of the Templar Order will be meeting. And then he tells us that come back to him when we're ready. Well, that's the end of the corruption. See, in your world, that was like 10 seconds. For me, that was 3 hours of missing footage, because I did a whole bunch of the collectathon stuff, so let's move on. We return to the fox, and he gets us to follow him to a meeting point. But really, this is not so much of a follow him as race him to the designated spot, which of course he will win. Once at the destination, the fox shows us where the Francis de Pazzi is meeting the rest of his order. We head down to the courtyard that the fox had shown us, and we head into the catacombs by accessing it through the secret door. For the rest of the game, this will be also how we get our assassin seals, is by going to these locations. Once in the catacombs, we do our sweet parkour moves, all while solving these parkour puzzles. I use puzzle lightly, as the game literally shows you in a cutscene the correct path to take throughout the puzzle. Though, to be honest with you guys, I'm totally okay with this because I hate puzzles. I'm not a guy that wants to think about puzzles when I'm playing a game. After doing our parkour puzzles, we end up running into some guards blocking a door. We, of course, kill them because why wouldn't we? And that leads us to one of the guards taking off running. We have to chase him down, but the intensity is lost because this guard will literally stop and wait for you if you don't catch up. If you fall too far behind, he'll stop and wait. And if you get too close, he just runs faster. I hate when games do this. Like, if I'm on a follow mission and I have to be right beside them, or I fail, but if I'm being in a chase mission, they just wait. It takes all the impact out of it. It's an odd design choice. You will always realize that you will never catch him until the exact moment you're supposed to catch him. The guard in the exact moment we're supposed to catch him eventually makes it to a little room where other guards come out to help him fight us. We kill them easy enough and head deeper into the catacombs. We then arrive to the secret meeting location within the catacombs, and we do some eavesdropping. Here, I'll let you guys eavesdrop with Ezio.
Grazie, padre. Bernardo?
It's all here. Swords, staves, axes, armor, bows. Our men will want for nothing.
I take this gift to mean the Pope consents.
He gave his blessing to the operation, as long as nobody's killed.
We're all set for the Duomo in the morning, Signore. The bait's been laid, but it wasn't easy. His fool brother keeps changing his plans.
See, we'll need to be on hand to make sure Giuliano even gets out of bed for church tomorrow.
What is it, Jacopo? Do you think they suspect something?
Impossible. The Medici are too arrogant or too stupid to even notice. Likely a bit of both.
Do not underestimate our enemies, Francesco. Or have you already forgotten how your son was murdered?
We'll suffer no such surprises this time, Maestro. You have my word.
Molto bene. I should be off. I've some other business to attend to before I return to Rome. Gentlemen, tomorrow, a new sun rises over Firenze. May the Father of Understanding guide us.
May the Father of Understanding guide us.
So there you have it. They have a master plan already formed to kill the Medici family. I think that's how you pronounce it. Ezio does a great job of breaking this down later, so seeming how he can pronounce the names, I'm going to let him tell you. We are then tasked with opening the sarcophagus. And this is how we get our seals for the Assassin's Sanctuary. We find these sarcophaguses and we open them, and that gives us a seal. This one happens to be the Hidden Blade Talisman. Also, if you play Assassin's Creed 2 on your own, at the end of each of these rooms where you go into to get the sarcophagus, there's also money chests to loot, so make sure you hit those up as you have a whole entire villa to renovate. So, time to leave. So we leave through the freshly opened hatch, which takes us out this very modern window, so I don't know how they missed this entire hidden sanctuary when it's literally inside of like a very well-known building. Also, just totally side note, you can also swim in Assassin's Creed 2. I don't know why I haven't told you guys that up to this point. It comes in crucial later when we're in Venice, and you literally have to like swim through different canals. Just thought you should know. We report back to the Fox and inform him of the plans to kill the Medici family. We also tell him that the Templars plan to attack the Medici family tomorrow at High Mass. Uh-oh. Fast forwarding in time, it's time to save the Medici family. Through this cutscene I'm going to let you watch, we learn that we did a terrible job of saving the Medici family.
There's Giuliano, Lorenzo's brother. Where is Francesco? There he is. Time to strike.
Crepa! Traditore! Giuliano! No! No! In nome di Dio! Vi scongiuro, pietà!
Nessuna pietà! Cane maledetto! Muori! 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 Your day is done, Lorenzo! Your entire family dies by my sword!
Though we are an assassin, not a save a person. Though we did manage to save Lorenzo, so I guess we did like half the job, 50%. You know, it's not a fail, it's not a pass. We then escort Lorenzo through the city to the safety of his own home and his own men. We then get a cutscene where Ezio and Lorenzo share a bonding moment over how the Templars have both killed a bunch of people in their family. Lorenzo then tells Ezio to go kill Francesco. Now that we can do, Lorenzo. That we can do. We find Francesco at the prison standing on the ramparts, issuing orders to his men while they wage war on the city, down below. Ezio climbs the side of the prison all the way up to where Francesco is, and annoyingly, Francesco jumps right back off. So we follow him because that's what we have to do, and give chase. I have to say that they did a great job of fixing the controls between Assassin's Creed 1 and Assassin's Creed 2, because I'm now enjoying myself chasing down these people to fight them, rather than in 1 where I was constantly getting hitched on things. It's so much more enjoyable not to have to fight clunky controls as well as having terrible combat. We end up knifing Francesco on a roof, and then this cutscene plays.
Meglio essere felici in questa vita che aspirare a esserlo nella prossima. Requiescat in pace.
This immediately takes us into another cutscene where it shows the old man, who I forgot the name of, riding a horse back and forth between the fighting men, rallying his men with words of victories and how they're going to take the city. That is until Francesco's lifeless body is hung from the prison by the people of the city. With that, the old man is like, nope, I'm out of here, bye, and he flees.
Francesco?
We are then taken to a meeting with Lorenzo on a bridge. This is the game doing it. It's not a fast forward or nothing. It just takes you here without your control. He tells a story about how our father had once saved him as a boy from drowning, and then he gives Ezio a bunch of names of men in the Templar Order so we can start putting in some work in avenging Ezio and Lorenzo's family. It seems like it's going to start picking up some pace now. I'm going to let Sean break this down for you because he does a great job of doing it, and it saves me some of my, vocal cords because this review is very long.
Jacopo de Pazzi. The money. This guy was the head of the Pazzi family, and he ran their banking business. An associate of Lorenzo de' Medici, he had nothing against him personally. So he hired 4 Templar hitmen to take care of the situation for him. Bernardo di Bandino Baroncelli. Brought up to hate the Medici family for the exile of his cousins, Baroncelli ran the numbers in the Pazzi bank by day, and murdered for the Templars at night. It was Baroncelli who delivered the first blow. Stefano de Bagnone. Known for his cruelty, Bagnone was trained in Rome as a Templar butcher. It was Bagnone who stabbed Lorenzo de' Medici in the back. Antonio Maffei. Witness to the sacking of Volterra by Florentine mercenaries, Maffei blamed Lorenzo. He joined the Templars to seek revenge. It was Maffei who slashed Lorenzo's neck. Archbishop Francesco Salviati. Convinced he would be the next Archbishop of Florence, Salviati was enraged when Lorenzo stood in his way. But the Templars were there to heal his wounds. It was Salviati who marched their troops into the city.
I would say that probably wraps it up very nicely for you. You now know who our next bunch of targets are. We then arrive at Leonardo's house again, and we bring him our codex pages that we just got from Lorenzo. He says that there's a schematic to a poison blade. Ooh. The way the upgrades work in Assassin's Creed 2 are so much better than Assassin's Creed 1, as when I get an upgrade from Leonardo, it actually feels like I'm getting stronger. In Assassin's Creed 1, it felt like no change at all. I enjoy going to Leonardo for upgrades, where with the Master Assassin, I hated going all the way back to Masyaf to see him. So, these are good things. Before we do another main mission, we head back to the villa to do some upgrades and talk to our uncle. Though it turns out that this is actually part of the main missions. Talking to Uncle Mario, we enlist him in tracking down our enemies. We also put the codex pages we found on the wall, and annoyingly Mario wants to spar with us and teach us some more things, aka another forced tutorial. I don't know what it is with Assassin's Creed games and doing tutorials through the entirety of the game, but it's annoying, and it makes it really impede the progress of the game. The story's getting good, do a tutorial. You know, the thing you do at the beginning of games? I hate it. After doing our training, we head off to Tuscany again. We meet with Uncle Mario's mercenary contact, and he says that Jacopo's man, Stefano, is actually just at the end of the street, so we head on over there. We then, in a not-so-assassiny way, rush right into the Abbey and immediately enter into a sword fight, where we are heavily outnumbered, but not outskilled. We eventually strike down Stefano, and he says they meet under the shadow of Roman gods. I don't know what this means, but I'm sure we're going to find out. The next one of Mario's contacts says that the bishop is hiding within the villa. He then offers up his men to storm the villa with Ezio, which we gratefully accept. I'm excited for any mission where you feel like you're part of a bigger group and pushing for the same objective. Think of it like a night out with your core group of friends. There's nothing like knowing that your buddy has your back and you got his. You literally feel unstoppable and like you can do anything. That's what it feels like when you go in a big group in this game. For the first time in this playthrough, our sword is smashed out of our hand. I didn't even know this was possible, but here we are. We can also pick up different weapons, which I also didn't know you could do. It's a little jarring when it first happened, but I do like this mechanic. We once again have just rushed into a sword fight and are now fighting off a massive assault in the bishop's villa. Eventually, we do kill the bishop, and the bishop on his deathbed says that Yakupov will only meet at night. I just want to say I do have a tendency to just rush in, and that's on me. That's not on the game. It's nothing the game's doing. I just personally like to just be in an all-out war all the time. So that's a me thing. So, on to the next target. The next contact says that they have located Bernardo. We just have to find him again after he escaped their custody. That's weird. So they didn't actually find Bernardo. They just know that he's around somewhere. Let's be honest. He was not hard to find. He was the fat guy at the food stall. I don't think he knows gluttony is a sin. So we kill him for this. Bernardo says that they always meet at the church for their meetings. So we got under the shadow of Roman gods, a church, and at night. Spooky stuff here. By the way, this isn't me speeding this up. This is how fast the game is making us go through Yakupov's men. It's literally just go here, kill the guy, go here, kill the guy, go here, kill the guy. And it's not even that far apart. I don't mind it as up to this point. It was moving at an all right pace, but it was starting to, feel like a little dull. So this rapid fire section of just killing people is great. The next contact says Antonio has gone mad at the thought of an assassin coming and has climbed the highest tower in the city and is shouting scriptures with the guards watching over him. Well, contact guy, I, the master assassin, have the experience with towers because I've climbed a lot of them and archers because I've killed a lot of them. So this shouldn't be a problem. And with that, I can literally say it was no problem. We killed him with ease and this mad rambling man gave us no information after. That's weird. He rambles on and on, but he can't give whatever. We then immediately go into our next mission, which has us tail Jacopo. After that, I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but I'm pretty sure that is. After we follow Jacopo to his meeting place, we finally do some sweet, sweet assassinations, but before we do that, I want to say I hate follow missions, especially follow missions where there's no talking. I cannot help but feel these are filler missions, especially when they go on for as long as this one does. Alright, I gotta do it to you guys. I'm gonna leave you guys this entire walk all the way to the end unedited. That way you guys can see how much I cut out of these reviews, but they're still this long because I do these missions regularly where I have to follow people for 5, 6, 7 minutes only to be caught at the end, redo it, or to die and then have to redo it, or just simply that's how long it is. So I'm going to leave it so you guys can watch it and you guys can see how frustrating these missions can be. When I say that it's a follow mission, it's a follow mission. If I have to play the game, record the game, edit the game, write a script for the game, rewatch the footage multiple times, upload the footage, rewatch it again, all to just be told I'm just making it up and I'm complaining, then you guys can check out this one incredibly long follow sequence. I'm talking, and we just hit exactly 60 seconds of talking footage, and we are still nowhere near where we need to be. All right? Enjoy.
What are you and the others planning, Jacopo?
This mighty man, he keeps the poor from the mighty's reach. He keeps the maidens hope and more. His lips, they do
Some good people hear my tale of the man who walked solo. Coi, così mi piace. Easy way, easy way. Così mi piace. Easy way, così mi piace.
How'd you guys like that? Yeah, that's what I have to deal with. That's what I cut out of these videos. Is that much walking. That's it. That's all it was just walking. Nothing happened. Nothing crazy went out of the way. We didn't get attacked. We didn't defend ourselves. We didn't interact with anything. We just walked behind him for that long. These are why I call these missions time fillers. There was no reason for that. Why couldn't we have met him like 10 seconds outside of that, where we followed him for 10 seconds? Or even, let's even give him a minute. Why couldn't we have followed Jacopo for a minute to his thing? Why did it have to be this long? Why did we literally meet him on the other side of the city and then slowly walk through the city? Like, we didn't even get alerted once. You guys understand that? I'm almost now talking again for over a minute, and we are still not where we need to be. It's crazy. So that's what I cut out of these videos, and I wanted you guys to all experience it. When you guys see a quick cut, that could literally be 30, 40 minutes of footage. It could be an hour of footage. I've cut out 2.5 hours of footage before for you guys. See, I'm rambling now, and we are still not there. Let's move on to the scripted content again. We follow Jacopo for what seems like way too long because we're still rambling about how long it is, and we still haven't even gotten there. Like, I really went too long with this whole conversation, but I just want to point out we've been talking, and I'm still rambling, and we're still not there. So let's do a quick cut, and we arrive at the secret location. That was nice. See, this is what I cut out for you guys. That this took like 5 minutes, and you guys saw it in like 34 seconds. Anyway, you guys don't want to hear about that anymore. Though, for a secret location, it is very out in the open. The maestro, the guy in the red hood, the maestro, the Spaniard, the Pope, the shady guy behind the door, ends up stabbing Jacopo for being way too weak and frail to stand up to the assassin because everybody else that was supposed to be at this meeting, we have just killed. Isn't that cool? So we don't even get to kill Jacopo after. All this work to get here. It turns out the maestro knew that Ezio would follow Jacopo to the meeting, and not to take anything away from the maestro, he set a very terrible trap. Ezio easily dispatches the guards because we've at this point killed like hundreds of them. And then we just go over to Jacopo and stab him to save him from the very slow death that the maestro wanted him to have. Upon killing him, though, he doesn't really say anything. So we just do our death chant and then escape.
Deli e paure. Requiesca di pace.
We are now back in Florence in the year 1480. The year is not important. I just wanted you to know it. It's 1480. There's no reason for this. Ezio finds Lorenzo, who is in a courtyard. And then he informs Lorenzo that all the people that had wronged him and gotten his brother killed are now dead. Lorenzo thanks Ezio and then offers him a cape that will make the guards look the other way if Ezio's doing some, bad deeds within the city. Though, when I look at it, it looks like a pepperoni pizza. I also want to point out him giving us this cape means we will not be returning here for any missions in the future. That we think. Well, time to go find Leonardo, but unfortunately, we find out that he has left Florence to pursue another job opportunity in the city of Venice. So now we got to go really actually find him, which is not too hard. He's on the mountain pass. We find him because he's lost a wheel on his wagon, so we fix it, and then we offer to help him drive it to Venice. But what's neat about this scene is that in the back of the wagon is one of Leonardo's inventions, the flying machine. Kind of cool, because I recognize it. Neat. Ezio then agrees to drive Leonardo to Venice. So, it's safe to say we will be attacked at some point. Otherwise, why else would we be here? Oh, well, that happened fast for you guys. Leonardo's wagon gets attacked by the Templars. We have no choice but to do this super long, and to be frank, terribly cringe chase sequence. This is a high-speed version of a follow quest, so we already hate it. We ride with archers shooting flaming arrows at us and guards jumping on our wagon. Oh, well, we just kind of just do it on rails. It's on rails. What's going to happen is going to happen. There's very little ways about it. Every game and movie has a certain level of suspension of belief, where you're supposed to suspend your rational thoughts and processes to make the story make sense. For example, in an action movie where the hero may jump out of a window and fall 2 stories and land on the roof of a car and be perfectly fine, you, the viewer, will suspend your belief for a minute and think the car is softer than, the ground. just so the story will flow and it makes sense on why he lived. Though in real life, you know a car is actually very, very hard, and if you fell on it, it would still hurt immensely bad. And it's no better than landing on concrete. You know this as a real-life person. So what I'm getting at is that we, the player, are supposed to believe the Templar Order sent out hundreds of men to catch one assassin and one inventor, set up multiple ambushes along the mountain pass, had enough horses to not only chase Ezio down, but also lose said horses when Ezio crashes the wagon into them, killing them, all while on a hunch that Ezio would find Leonardo, who had just happened to lost a wagon on the beginning of the mountain trail, and then Ezio would then agree to fix the wagon with Leonardo to then offer, after that, to drive Leonardo to Venice. Is just a little too much. It's a little hard to believe. This whole sequence just feels like, I don't know how to explain it. It just doesn't fit the way the rest of the pace of the game. It doesn't fit. Finally, after forever, Ezio says the Templars are here for me and jumps off to save Leonardo. He then stands his ground against the remaining guards, which are now way less than what we've just been fighting the entire way here. He kills these guards. Mission end. Dunskies. Then we are in Floralie, a swampy, poor, gray mess. It's an awful, awful looking city. It's an awful looking landscape. I hated this place. We meet up with Leonardo on the docks in Floralie, and he's about to board the ship and we head to Venice. Ezio wants to join him, but cannot, because he needs a boarding pass and approval from the royal family. Then, as if on cue, a lady yells off in the distance that she needs help.
You with that, brother? Di niente.
Tutti a bordo! Fra poco si salpa!
That's our traghetto. Venezia waits.
Where's your pass?
What pass? You don't have a pass?
You cannot enter Venezia without a pass. Who invited you?
Nobody.
Basta! No pass, no entrance!
Don't worry, Leonardo. I'll come up with something.
Don't just stand there! I need help!
Ezio, of course, being the good guy assassin he is, sets off to help her. We ended up, borrowing a boat, which is cool. This is another way to traverse the world and, explore the newfound oceans that we can now use and, travel. And then when we get to Venice, we could go up and down the rivers on these boats. We will never use this again. Ever again. This is just a pointless moment to just enhance the story. We find the woman on an island. How she got out here, we don't know. How come she can't just go to the dock that's right there? We don't know. How come she needs help? We don't know. How come the guys on the dock aren't helping her? We don't know. So we find her because we are main character, and she, of course, offers to help us in any way she can because we just saved her life after she could have maybe, I don't know, swam the 3 feet over to the dock. I'm just saying, it's weird. So yeah, she offers to help us. We say we want on the ship. She says, no problem, gets that done. She tells the guy that's in charge of the ship, hey, let this guy on. Guy on the ship goes, cool. He's cool. He can come on the ship because he's cool. Oh man, it's just these parts are just driving me nuts. Okay? Driving me nuts. When we board the boat, Leonardo warns us that we should not go near that woman again, and that we for sure should not even contemplate sleeping with her, which definitely Ezio was contemplating, because she is the wife of the lord who runs the city. Her name is Katrina, and we will see her again. Oh man, we got pulled out of the Animus again. I don't like when they do this, but this is the first time, so we'll forgive it. Lucy asks us to meet her down in the warehouse. Damn, Desmond. So we head down to the warehouse. Oh. Lucy then tasks us with turning on the security system. This is just doing parkour with Desmond while Lucy monologue dumps a bunch of stuff about Subject 16. Though partway through, Desmond starts seeing things like the Animus world overlaying in the real world. The best way to think of this is remember when you'd play a video game too much as a kid and then you go to bed and you dream of that game? It's that, except for the opposite for Desmond. He's awake and then he can see what he was doing in the Animus and the world that existed within the Animus. Lucy says that as long as they are less than 30-second long hallucinations, then he has nothing to worry about because it's completely apparently normal. It's a weird world Desmond lives in. Lucy then explains that Subject 16 had become obsessed with Italy before he had died, and that's why they chose to go back to see Ezio. She also explains that she has been in charge of Subject 16 and she is the complete reason why Subject 16 died. But she says that she had pushed him too far, but she won't do that with Desmond. No. She'll make sure that he doesn't stay too long in the Animus. Nice try, game. Pull me out of the Animus again for my health, and you and me will have problems. There will be fists. We are now in Venice, so that's cool. Another fully fleshed out city to explore and a bunch more Eagle Towers to do. We run around doing our Eagle points and then all the side quests, and as well as getting our seal. Once that is accomplished, we then go to where you're seeing now. We arrive at the start point for our next mission. We end up meeting Leonardo at the docks. Leonardo is about to get the tour of the city from his employer's aide guy. So Leo asks us to join him, which of course Ezio does because that's how the story progresses. While on the tour, we get a feeling that there is some corruption underfoot and some authoritarian, dictatorship thing happening as we watch this merchant get kicked out of his stall, even though he's paid his rent under the orders of someone called Amelia. We then get robbed by a lady. Now, she will be important later in this review, so just wanted to show you that. She steals our money and runs off, and Ezio does literally nothing other than say, "Give it back, guy." The guide then takes us to this giant palace. Plaza, he calls it, but it looks like a palace, so we'll call it a palace. And he tells us that the owner of the palace, Emilio, is trying to unify the merchants under a single banner, and any who oppose him, like the merchant from earlier, are forced out. They get pushed out of their stalls, they can't sell, or he finds other ways to remove them. Well, would you look at that? The merchant from earlier just showed up, and he's getting roughed up. And here he is demanding compensation. But he gets arrested for a law that was made up right now on the spot. And to be honest, let's be real here, he probably died. Our next mission has Ezio return to Amelia's palace, where he tries to figure out a route of attack in order to assassinate Emilio, freeing the city, and thus also getting him closer to the person who actually ordered the death of his family. As Ezio is trying to figure this out, a raggedy group of, thieves come running past, as well as the girl from earlier, and they try to break into the palace themselves. So we do see her do a new climbing technique. She unfortunately gets shot by an arrow and falls. He then asks for Ezio's help, which of course he does because that's how we progress the story. So Ezio agrees to help her get back to her headquarters to be, not having an arrow in her. So we work our way through the city, fighting off the guards and defending her honor until eventually she becomes overcome with the pain of the arrow in her and she falls and we have to carry her. So we carry her to the boat. Once we get to the boat, we have to then defend her as she travels the canals of Venice. We run along beside her, dispatching guards on either side that are, shooting arrows at her and trying to kill her and her crew. So we run, we kill them, we throw them in the water, we stab them, we shoot them, we do whatever we can to defend her. And eventually, she makes it back to her safe house and is then taken out of the boat and brought to a table to have the arrow removed. We learn that the man that traveled with Rosa on the boat actually died, and Rosa ends up losing it and screams for Antonio. Antonio arrives to remove the arrow from Rosa, and after removing the arrow from Rosa, Antonio says to Ezio, the gang is well aware of Ezio and what he wants, and Ezio should see him in his office.
Ben fatto. You work well under pressure. She's spirited, this one.
Porca puttana!
Avanti! Get Rosa inside so that Bianca can close the wound.
You'll be all right. The worst is past.
Ci venissi il cancero, brutto bastardo! A te e che la grandissima troia di tua madre!
Thank you. Rosa is most dear to me. If I had lost her...
I've always had a soft spot for women in distress.
So I've heard. Don't look so surprised. We know all about you, Ser Ezio. Your work in Florence and the rest of Tuscany. Good work, too. If a little... unrefined.
Then you know why I'm in Venezia.
I can guess. When you have a minute, come see me in my office. There's something we should discuss.
How is this game the same franchise as the first one? Like, for real. Every game starts rough, and the most part, they all improve eventually throughout their different sequels and so on and so forth. But this game, it doesn't even feel like it's even on the same level as Assassin's Creed 1. Assassin's Creed 2 is on its own individual level. Like, it's like one never existed. I don't understand it, and when you play them back to back, when you play Assassin's Creed 1 and Assassin's Creed 2 back to back, it becomes baffling how much the game increased in just 2 years. I didn't remember this from as a kid. Like, it all seemed to flow in my memory, but now playing them back to back, the difference is insane. You should try it. Ezio then heads over to Antonio's office where he tells us of his failures trying to remove Emilio from power. He then, like all the others before, asks Ezio for help with the task of course, killing the guy who is bad, Emilio. Ezio agrees because that's how we get the story to continue. And then, yeah, we might not share the same motives as Antonio. We do share the same conclusion. We both want Emilio dead, so we'll work with him. Antonio tells Ezio to travel the city and meet up with different men that need help with, reestablishing their connections within the city. And they will give Ezio tasks to complete. And when we complete the task, then we'll be ready for our final assault on Emilio's palace. Which, spoilers now, it's literally the exact same plan, but instead of Rosa climbing the building to kill him, we climb the building. It's the exact same plan. I'm not even lying. It's the same. Ezio first heads over to meet with Rosa and check in on her and see how she's doing after, being shot with an arrow. She's fine, as she tells us, and then Ezio asks her to teach him how she was able to jump that wide gap at the beginning of the palace. And of course she goes, oh, it's pretty simple. Here, go do it. We bang out this tutorial fairly easily and continue. I will say there's a lot of sexual tension between Ezio and Rosa, though, and it's kind of weird. I hate when video games do that because you can't relate to a bunch of fictional characters that look, the way they look. They don't even look like real people. I only bring this up because we already learned that Altair also had a love interest, Maria from Acre, and they had a baby, which then led to Ezio's lineage, his ancestry. So who will Ezio have a baby with? And who will that baby turn into? Will that be another assassin we get to play on with later down the road? I don't know. I guess we'll find out then. After completing the climbing tutorial with Rosa, we head back to Antonio's office to offer our advice on the men that had betrayed him. The advice Ezio gives is pretty simple. We must kill them. So that's what we will do. The first traitor is on a boat, who we very clumsily take out because the boat climbing is weird. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't know. It's most likely just a me problem. The second is on a roof, and we actually accidentally run into this guy while we are actually running from guards. But we take him out as well. The third traitor is in a market, and we just simply throw him into the water, as apparently in all of Renaissance Italy, only Ezio can swim. In a city that is literally surrounded by rivers, canals, and an ocean, only Ezio can swim. And with that simple drowning, we have completed the mission of the betrayal of Antonio. Our next mission with Ezio embarks on releasing captured thieves from Emilio's authority. We are really getting a sense of power that this man is wielding over its citizens. He has merchants being thrown out if they don't agree with him. He has spies all over the place spying on his citizens, and has acted like judge, jury, and executioner with the people that oppose him. Well, time to free the captured people, and this seems like a straightforward enough mission. The first captured person actually became harder than I thought it was going to be. There's actually a lot of guards blocking the way, and we have to use some of the game mechanics that are like a little archaic to actually beat them all and just move this along at a reasonable pace. Like climbing a ladder and hitting them off the roof as soon as they get up there so they die to fall damage rather than me having to fight them. Or just simply getting slightly elevated and then assassinating them. The fight goes on for a while, but then, like every other time before this, we win because Ezio doesn't lose and neither does Mr.Flatfaceyt. After dispatching the guards, we then have to escort them. Now, I hate escort missions, or follow missions for that matter, and this Venice segment of the Assassin's Creed 2 has literally already had us follow Leonardo, and then escort and follow Rosa, and now we are going to have these thieves guys follow us, not once, but 3 times. 3 times we're going to have to do the exact same thing. Escort quests will always be the very definition of a time filler, and game time padding to make the play time seem a little longer. And a little sneak peek into the next nostalgic review, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood is almost all filler missions. So if you like angry reviews, then leave a like, comment, and subscribe now as that video comes out in 2 weeks. But I'm getting a little sick and tired of the follow missions in this game right now. We do this 2 more times, saving the captured thieves and then escorting them, and with that, we have finally finished this mission. Another escort mission. Crazy. Ezio then goes and meets Rosa, and she challenges us to climb the tower to an eagle point. Now, I always do these off recording to save space on my hard drive as well as save you guys time. But when I first arrived to Venice, I could not do this tower because I had to learn, Rosa's special fancy climbing move. But while we climb this tower, I want to say how clean, smooth, and amazing the climbing system is in Assassin's Creed 2. I enjoyed traversing the city both on the roof of the, Renaissance Italy and in the streets of Venice and Florence. It's unfortunate that the first was so clunky, or I think it would have been a lot better if I didn't have to fight with the controls the entire time I had my playthrough. Once we reach the top of this eagle point, we show off to Rosa by doing an eagle jump and land in the hay, as we always do. Upon talking to Rosa, she informs us that she has taught us all she can and will return to Antonio to tell him of our progress. It seems we are almost ready to fulfill our plan in killing Emilio. Ezio then heads over to Ugo, Ago, I don't know, here's how it's spelled, at the docks, where he tells us we can use his thieves to attack the guards. Then he tells us to kill some guards, but do it as clean as possible, as we need to keep the armor clean so they can then replace the archers that are on top of the palace to help Ezio later when he kills Emilio. Ugo also informs us that there just happens to be a new shipment of this armor that has arrived today, and we'll have to get this off the boat in the harbor. Now, these are just chests of armor that the guards are blocking, so I don't know, shouldn't be that hard. Well, I guess it's time to set out on yet another fetch quest, though at least there is some story involved in this one. You know, we're getting some armor. We find the first chest on the edge of a river canal, and we are able to rob it without even alerting the guards. That's always nice when you feel like a, badass assassin just working your way through the city, under the cloak and nobody knows you're actually there. That always feels good. Happy days. The second box of armor, for some reason, is in this weird corner of the church. Ezio simply fights off these guards and then takes the chest away from them. It's that simple. But I do wish that there had been a way to also take this chest without the guards noticing. Maybe like drop in behind him or have some secret path that we can do. But until Ezio learns how to, phase through walls, we're just not going to be able to take this chest ever without the guards noticing. I guess we could have maybe distracted him, but I like it when they don't move and they're on their post and then you get to sneak up behind him, take their stuff, but they never knew you were there. That's cool, like the first chest we did. The third chest is once again in a weird location. This one's between this bloody butcher table in the middle of an alleyway and a wagon. Though the difference is there's literally a million guards guarding this one, and we end up fighting and fighting and continuing to fight. We also kept fighting. We then fought. We then tussled. We even got rowdy. We then put sword to sword. Okay, we won. This went on for far too long. Way too long. We steal the chest, and all that's left now is to steal the boat with the armor in it. We run over to the docks, hop onto the boat, and then we drive it slightly down the canal, and that's the end of the mission. It's that bad. I hate when games do that. We stole a boat from guards that had their armor in it, and they were guarding it on a dock. And then we took that boat and we drove it like 50 feet away, and the guards are like, oh man, I guess we can't get that back. Oh well, moving on. We'll just guard the boat that isn't here anymore. It's the equivalent to a game saying, hey, take this letter to Margaret, as I have not been able to find the time to do it myself. And Margaret needs this letter because it is of utmost importance, and if she doesn't get it, she will die within the day. But then Margaret is literally like right beside him, separated by like a table. So then you bring it to Margaret, and Margaret's like, hey, thank you. Tom said he would get this letter to me last week, but hasn't had the time, and I haven't had the time to go see him. It's stupid. It's the worst possible thing. I have a solution to this whole boat thing, though, because criticism without a solution is just complaining. Here's my solution to this boat thing, this debacle, this controversy. Ezio, running up, slays the guards at the dock. Okay, check. Ezio then gets into the boat, and he starts going down the canal. He then, the thieves have set up a passage in through one of the connecting canals, where Ezio then turns, brings the boat in there, he ducks down, and there's barely enough room for the boat and Ezio. They pass through this tunnel into this underground maintenance room, where then Ezio does a transfer over to the thieves, giving them the boat with the armor in it. Not only does that establish how the guards can't get to him, because they obviously can't swim through that tunnel. 2, it establishes a way that they can get the armor without it being like right out in the open. And 3, allows the player to, have some sort of sense and belief that the guards lost track of him. We went 50 feet down the canal, and the guards are like moving on. So that would be my solution. They could have done all that in a cutscene. We never even saw it. Just a quick cut. They do a ton of quick cuts in the game, so it wouldn't even have been that hard, right? But then they would just teleport Ezio to the, service. Done. Moving on. We now know the boat is secured. But instead, we get to drive it 50 feet away, and the guards just move on. It's just dumb. Ezio then returns to Antonio, and we learn we have now done the right amount of fetch quests and escort missions to be able to kill Emilio. In Antonio's office, we then go over the plan. And here is the plan. Phase 1. Killing the archers around the palace so Antonio's men can then take over. Phase 2. Use the thieves to distract the guards at the gate of the palace so then Ezio can use the technique Rosa taught us to climb the palace wall. Once again, that's it. That's as simple as that. That was the same plan they had before. They just replaced Ezio and Rosa. That's it. Climbing to the top of the palace, we then get a cutscene with Emilio getting scolded by his boss because he's in trouble.
A minor setback. It will be dealt with. This povero scemo Antonio and his thieves.
Never mind then. It's the assassin you should be worried about.
Why? Is he in Venezia?
He's been here for weeks. How could you be so blind?
Unlike you, I've been busy. Someone had to provide the weapon.
Now it's time for phase 3. We work through the castle, stealth killing guards that are guarding the different entrances, and parkouring over rafters until we eventually arrive to Emilio, where we stab him on the stairs in front of the remaining guards. We then enter the Animus-y weird cutscene thing.
I sought unity, stability, order.
At too great a cost.
Progress demands sacrifice.
Non trova alcuna gioia in questo, ma non c'è altro modo. Requiescat in pace.
After the death cutscene, Ezio is surrounded by the guards, ready to kill him before killing Emilio. But Antonio's men save us in a quick cutscene. Here is what I would have rathered. I still would have liked to have fought the guards, but while we did this, Antonio's men rain arrows down into the battlefield. And then maybe a bunch of those bigger, harder guards come out, and they pressure on Ezio, and Ezio starts to lose the fight in a cutscene. But in a well-coordinated attack, Antonio's archers then kill the bigger guards, saving Ezio before he falls to these, bigger foes. Instead, it's just like, done. Moving on. We, after a quick cutscene, meet Antonio at the door to the palace, and we let him in. Antonio then pays Ezio for his help. Ezio then asks Antonio, hey, man, who was that guy that was yelling at Emilio? And Antonio goes, hey, that was a man named Carlos, and he sits on the Council of 10. What is the Council of 10? I don't really know, but I assume it's a governing body that the city of Venice, and it is crucial to the Templars, plans of world domination. So it looks like our next person of target, our next person we're going to kill is Carlos, and he sits on the Council of 10. So let's get that done. Our map of Venice is now increased in size, so we have to go do our, busy work of unfogging the map and doing our side quests. Once that is complete, we're now ready to start our next quest line. One thing to note that we are unable to do the assassin script at this point because it is a restricted area, and we haven't figured out how to get in there yet. So that's literally this entire mission structure, this entire memory sequence, is us trying to figure out how to get in there. So, let's go. When we start the next mission, it's in a courtyard with Carlos and a man called the Maestro, as we've already established a few times. He goes by many names throughout this game. Meeting, and we have to tail them through the city. As long as they don't walk super awkwardly slow, I think we'll be fine.
As am I. Perhaps you'll arrive with the others. Walk with me.
We end up tailing the Maestro and Carlo until they meet with another two men, a guy with a beard and a guard. And they start off by talking about the assassination of Emilio and how, the assassin's here and they need to speed up their plans. After that, they then talk vaguely about speeding up the plans to eliminate the target tonight in order to help prevent Ezio from saving them. They don't know that we're here, even though we haven't really hit him that much.
Now. But Marco, I'm so close. A few more days, if I can just...
No. It happens this week. We should keep moving.
We now have to tail the 4 men in the group until we learn that another man has arrived to select a new replacement after they kill their target, the Doge. We then learn that they will be poisoning the mead of the Doge, so then he would die from the poisoning and they can appoint their own Templar into the Doge. Now, I'm not up to date with my, politics in Renaissance Italy, so I don't know what the Doge is, but that's what they keep saying. Ezio then decides to return to Antonio for more help, as he admittedly says that he should have killed them there now to save the Doge instead of waiting.
Much of a conversationalist.
Enough with your inane prattle. The choice of Doge was never up to any of you, and you were never given permission to make plans.
Forgive us, Maestro. We wish only to serve.
The plan is this. Doge Mocenigo will die tonight. And once the deed's been done, Marco, shall take his place.
Vi ringrazio umilmente, maestro.
Good. Messer Grimaldi, you are closest to Mocenigo. You worked the most vital. Serve us well, and it won't be forgotten. Walk with me.
Ezio then heads back to Antonio's place, where we had took it from Amelia, so I guess this is now his palace. That's how it works in Renaissance Italy. Kill a guy, this is now your house. We meet Rosa, and we tell her we must see Antonio. Antonio then arrives, and we tell him that the Templars' plan is to kill the Doge tonight with poison and take over that council. I would assume it's the council they're taking over. Antonio then says that Ezio will have the full support of his men, where Rosa randomly decides to throw some, politics into it, says, and women will also help, which is fine. It's just I don't think we need it in games. We know she's going to help. She led the last Assassin's attack. We didn't need to establish that. We then come to the conclusion that this is all so they can appoint the Templar into the position of Doge, which they've already said 3 times, but they had to just come to it on their own terms in a group. The next mission has us trying to figure out how to infiltrate the Doge's palace. Though before we head out, Antonio dumps us like rich are out to get the poor, rich guy bad, poor guy good stuff. It's a little nail on the head to be enjoyable, to be honest. It's kind of the theme of the game, so we didn't need you to state that again. Ezio and then Antonio run over to the palace. They started the front door for some reason, like that would be an option. Then they decide that it's not an option. And I was wondering if it was because of the 20-foot iron gate or the armed guards standing there 24 hours a day with absolutely no blank spot. That might have gave them the conclusion. I guess we'll never know how they came to the terms with this one. We then head over to a tower, climbing to the very tippity-top. At the top point, Ezio and Antonio decide this option will not work either, as the walls all the way around the palace are not even close to climbable. So we can't use our sweet, sweet parkour skills. We then jump off the tower, doing a leap of faith. I assumed Antonio would follow. No, he instead climbs slowly, and I mean slowly down the tower. So we just kind of stand here and wait until he shows up. The duo then works their way to the backside of the palace, where they find some scaffolding that takes them to the roof of the palace. When they get to the top of the palace, though, there's a cutscene where the Doge and Carlo are talking. Carlo is trying to convince the Doge to join the Templar movement, but the Doge refuses, leaving Carlo no choice but to poison him tonight.
How dare you?
I'm sorry. Mi dispiace. I meant nothing by it. I'm only looking out for your safety.
We're running out of time. There's no way through this fence, and there are guards everywhere. Diavolo!
All right, this way.
It's impossible.
Antonio then loses his temper and says breaching the palace will be impossible. But Ezio has a plan for that. Remember the flying machine when we helped out Leonardo with that whole wagon thing? Yeah, we're about to give that a try, ladies and gents.
I need your help, Leonardo. Does it work?
What? What are you asking?
Does it work, Leonardo? Can it really fly?
I don't know. It's only a prototype, an idea. It's not ready yet.
Have you tried it?
No, it's too dangerous. To test it, you'd have to leap off a tower. Who would be mad enough to do a thing like that?
Leonardo, I think you just found your madman.
We arrive at Leonardo's house, where we ask him about the flying machine from earlier. Leonardo tells us that it has never been tested with humans, which Ezio responds with, I shall test it. We are then strapped into the glider on a roof. Ezio runs off the edge and jumps. We are Batman. Ezio ends up crashing pretty quickly because the glider does not have enough lift to fly long distances. Ezio tells Leonardo that this machine needs to fly if he's to save the Doge. Leonardo comes up with a plan to use fire to help with the lift issue by using the fire's hot air to help increase the glider's lift. If I'm honest with you guys, I don't even remember the flying in this game. It's interesting what our brains forget. Like, I totally do not remember any of this mission. None of it. None of the flying, none of it. Anything from this point forward with the flying, I don't remember. So, for Leo's plan to work, we have to light fires all across Venice along our path to the palace. Now, in order to do this, we will have to go clear areas for Antonio's men to light said fires. So off we go to do that. So we run around the city, clearing the 4 areas that are specified to us to clear so there would be fires. I was thinking at this point, oh, okay, that's going to be the path we're going to fly. So I was trying to, in my head, remember it so it would make the mission go a lot smoother while we were flying, because I suck at the flying, by the way. But man, when we actually do the mission, there is so much more than just 4 fires. So much. So now that we cleared those areas, we go back to Leo to start the mission. The mission has us relaunch with the glider over the city. But the city is ablaze with massive bonfires that can be seen as far away as the render distance will allow. And we can use these to keep the glider in flight and kind of get, like, well, it's literally getting lift. We then soar over Venice while archers rain arrows at us. It's actually pretty epic, to be honest. It's a beautiful, absolutely beautiful mission. To be honest with you, too, like, it's also a really cool mission. It's definitely different than the follow missions we've been doing for a while, and maybe that's why we did so many, was like they needed to save some budget for this one mission here. There was something about it too, like just thinking about how the guards would have reacted to seeing this glider for the very first time ever. They would have literally thought it was like a giant demon straight from hell sent by God himself to kill him, because remember, this is a very religious time in history, right? So this would have been chaos for those guards. Chaos. Once we crash onto the roof of the palace to save the Doge in a fiery explosion, we were already too late. Carlo already poisoned the mead, so by the time we have worked our way over to the Doge and burst in to save him, the poison's already begun to take effect. Right? And he says to the Doge, we're too late. You're gonna die because you wouldn't do what you did. And it was anticlimactic. I would have liked to see us like save him, and then we could have like used some political I don't know. I expected not to have to, immediately chase after Carlo as he runs in the courtyard screaming that, assassin, assassin, assassin has killed the Doge.
Stop! Signore, don't drink that!
You are too late. The Doge is dead.
What? Carlo?
Apologies, Signore. But you should have listened to me when you had the chance. Seems you have failed, assassin.
Forgive me, Signore. I tried.
Why? What was it all for?
Assassino!
And like we literally killed him like immediately. There was no challenge. In his death scene, though, he does say that he did what he must to further his order, which is all we were doing in the first game and all we're doing now.
Kill another, it seems.
We kill thinking it's best for us. Do we not, Messer Ezio?
I do this not for myself. Compio questo sacrificio per il bene superiore. Requiescat in pace.
Though in a plot twist, maybe the Doge went mad with the poison, or the poison tricked him, but he comes running out saying Ezio killed him before he died, so now we have to fight off the hordes of guards as they try to kill us. Before we were the hero. We tried our best, and now we're the devil to these people. We start fighting off the guards, and we eventually find an opening in the ranks and run through it for our escape. As far as missions goes, this mission was actually really, really good. It was a really nice change of pace, and it had structure, it had story, and it had impact. It had its ups and downs, it had its challenges, but we actually the entire time felt like we were actually a part of this world for a minute. Everything we did, every single mission we did, from the follow missions to the very final mission, led us to this point, and everything felt good. Great mission structure, A for effort. And with that, we complete another memory sequence, ladies and gentlemen, and Venice expands even more. So you guys know what I have to do. I have to go get all the busy work done. So off I go. After our busy work, we end up at Leonardo's house, where we talk to Leonardo about how we are now the most wanted person in Venice because we killed Carlo in the middle of the most important building in Venice. And so Ezio asks Leonardo for a mask, because that's going to save him. We then offer Leonardo the Codex, which he will make into a literal blade pistol. This game is crazy. Like, this game is so much better than 1. I just have to keep saying that and reiterating that over and over again. Once Leonardo gives us our new blade pistol, we then head over to the docks where we get to use our new pistol on dummies under the cover of fireworks, because there's now a carnival happening within the city. I just noticed though, the dummies actually grip their bodies in pain. Have our dummy trainings this entire game when we get a new weapon been on real people this entire time? Like, are we just killing Leonardo's enemies under the disguise of training? Something's not sitting right here, because we also had to carry a body for Leonardo back earlier in the game. It's just something to think about, because that dummy definitely grabbed its stomach in pain. Well, with that spookiness out of the way, we're going to head back to Leonardo's, the creepy guy who's giving us live people to shoot. We then talk to him about the new Doge, Marco, the one that they put in power, the bearded man. And then we are told to go see Antonio. So off to see Antonio, our friend again. We find Antonio in a brothel with a mistress that is also a nun and 2 ladies. And we kind of ruin his fun night by asking to talk to him. As we're talking to him, some guy decides he's going to kill another one of the other ladies of the night and steal her money and run out the door. So of course, us being the good guy we are, we have to chase him down. We chase this murderer through the city that is tightly packed because there's literally a carnival going on, while he literally slaughters women in the streets. But when we kill him, the murderer of women, we get chased by the guards because now we're wanted. We actually did something to help the city, and they're like, not today there. So we have to run from the guards now. After killing the weird, creepy murderer women slayer guy, we head back to the brothel and learn that Marco will have a party tonight because he can't help but leave the palace tonight to attend the carnival, as it's kind of his weakness. He has to do it. He can't control himself. So all we need to do is win a golden mask through a bunch of series of events, and then we'll be able to attend the private party with that said golden mask. We then walk with Antonio and the mistress nun to the fair to win the golden mask.
Signore, come on, come all! The games of Carnevale are about to begin. Do you have the coraggio to compete for as grand a prize as this? This year, like every year, the Golden Mask will provide entry for one e uno solo to our most beloved Doge's personal ball. Who would not desire such an exceptional reward? Come, compete! Whoever proves themselves champion in each of 4 games today shall be the Doge's personal guest tonight.
We have to go around the fair completing different tasks at first. We have to get ribbons from women, which sounds easy enough. We just run around stealing the ribbons, so this one we complete immediately. It's pretty easy and kind of interesting, to be honest with you. It kind of makes the city feel alive, almost like a Mardi Gras feel. Oh, challenge 1 complete.
We have a winner! You have more ribbons than any man here. You've proved yourself a favorite of the ladies, and are now one step closer to the greatest prize of all time.
The second challenge has us do like a race. It's a timed event, really. So let's race. We have to race through the city against the clock while doing parkour and jumps. We end up beating this time like by a lot. So on to the next challenge. Like these so far are pretty basic. So this golden mask is in the bag.
The winner! You've proven yourself the fastest and strongest in Venezia. You are now one step closer to the grand prize.
Challenge number 3 has us playing Capture the Flag. So we get right into it. I've always liked Capture the Flag, but I have to admit, this was actually a lot harder than I thought it would be. The AI that is in this is actually freaking super fast. And at first, you don't know the path he's going to take. So you're trying to race, and then you think he goes up, but he's actually staying down, or he goes up and you stay down. It's a lot harder than I expected it to be. But once we figured it out, we of course won, because Mr.Flatfaceyt never loses. So, on to the next challenge.
We have a winner! You've protected your flag and captured the enemies. You've proven yourself a warrior without fear, and inch ever closer to victory.
The fourth challenge is a straight up fist fight with armor, because apparently when you fist fight, you want to wear full on metal guards. Well, let's do it anyway. The fight is a no weapon fight, but of course that will change in a bit here. And this guy Dante shows up, and we end up beating the crap out of him. But then his dad pays a bunch of guards to attack us with weapons. So now I guess it is weapons, but we end up beating them all anyway. So we actually did win the fourth challenge. Now we head to what's a great name for an adult film, the Golden Mask Ceremony, where we're supposed to get the mask because we won all the challenges. But instead, they give it to Dante because, of course, the judge was paid off. Why? I don't know. What I do know is that it was fun trying to get the mask, and I really enjoyed so far this mission structure. It's different than the normal follow missions or escort missions. It's a lot of fun, to be honest with you.
Signora e signori, the games of Carnevale have come to a glorious conclusion. Come see our winner claim his golden mask. Our winner has proven himself the fleetest of foot, the strongest of champions, the wisest strategist, and clearly a favorite of the ladies. With 4 games won lealmente, the winner of the golden mask is... the winner of the golden mask is Dante Moro. Congratulations. We'll see you this evening.
We head back to the brothel where we talk about how the mask was stolen from us. Of course, Ezio's mad, but then we agree to steal the mask back rather than kill him for it because, you know, Dante's actually kind of innocent in all this. It's actually his big bad daddy that's doing it all. So, off to the party. Let's do this. Stealing the mask was actually pretty simple because Dante, he likes his ladies, so we just pay a bunch of, you know, ladies of the night to distract him, and then we pickpocket it off of him. Quick and easy. Lemon squeezy. Barely an inconvenience. We get to the party and we switch into our new world mask. After that, we go through the gate. We are told that Marco is on the boat that is literally anchored to the side of this, I don't know, let's call it a dance floor. And then we use the ladies of the night to move around the crowd without being seen while guards patrol. And I gotta be honest with you, if I was at a party where like police were just patrolling the inside of the party, I don't think I'd have a good time. You'd constantly feel like if you did anything wrong, they'd arrest you. Here they have armed guards just patrolling and pushing through you the whole time. As we're exploring the party with the ladies of the night, Dante shows up with his freaking guards. What a party pooper. We then get tasked with a time filler mission where we have to avoid Dante's guards for a few minutes. It's kind of annoying because like it's a very small area and I got caught a lot just simply because of how small it was. I don't control the AI's pathing either, so they just kind of go where they go, and if they get accidentally split up, well, I guess I'm the one that pays for it and has to play longer. So it really felt kind of time patty, but it's alright. I'm enjoying myself at this party. Nothing wrong with it. But then Marco addresses the crowd, and we decide to use our pistol to kill him. We use the ladies of the night to edge our way closer to him, and then once we can finally lock onto him, we use our pistol that we just learned how to use on him. And it actually takes him out in one hit, which is super nice, considering in the first one we couldn't use our throwing knives, which one hit kill everyone else, but couldn't kill the bad guys. So it was nice to see him go down. Anyway, we then have to flee back to the brothel where we are rewarded with some ladies of the night ourselves. Good job, Ezio. Good job.
Beautifully done! Che spettacolo! A true hero! You must be exhausted. Come, relax.
Ah, the savior of Venezia. What can I say? Perhaps it was wrong of me to doubt so readily. Now, we'll see where all the pieces fall.
Enough of that now. You've worked hard, my son. I feel your tired body in need of comfort and succor.
But I have such aches and pains, sister. I may need a great deal of comfort and succor.
Oh, that can be arranged. Girls.
The city then does its morph thing again, and we are now on a bridge. And a messenger runs up to us all out of breath and says that Antonio wants to see us. I don't know what it is about being on bridges in this game, but we constantly end up on a bridge where somebody needs to talk to us. I don't know why the game doesn't just put us where the person wants to talk to us, so we can just like turn around and be like, oh, hello, Antonio. You can talk to us now. No, we have to waste this poor messenger's time. This game. Now, once again that the city has expanded, we had to do all our busy work. Busy work being side quest seals and the unfogging of the map. We are now ready for the next story mission, so off to see our boy Antonio again. We arrive at Antonio's palace, where he tells us that he has located Silvio, as he has fled the city. We now have to build ourselves an army to take on Silvio and his brother. Which shouldn't be too hard. We are, after all, master assassins, so how hard is it to build an army of assassins? Can't be that hard. On our way to our next mission, we end up running into an injured guy. Turns out one of Silvio's men has already been on the offense. So we have to liberate Bart, as we will call him from now on, from his prison. His name's actually like Bartholomew or something, but I struggle to say it because I have a speaking impediment. So we'll call him Bart. We then find Bart by the boat launch, and we use the thieves to lure the guards away nice and easy. We bring Bart to his headquarters where the guards are currently ransacking the place. We slay the 2 guards and open the gate, and Bart runs into his house to find his missing wife, Bianca, which turns out to actually be what he's missing is a sword. Interesting. Well, we tell Bart the plans on taking out Sylvia, and Bart agrees to help only if we agree to help his men that have been captured. So it seems like we're going to travel around once again and free a bunch of men from caves. Hopefully not escorting them. We shall see. The first group of men that we need to save is actually right across the river, so it's super easy, barely an inconvenience. After freeing them, some of them want to fight with us, so we're not going to turn down free help. Let's go.
The aid, friend. We'd like to fight with you, if you'll have us.
The second group was a little harder to free, but not that hard that we couldn't do it. So we end up getting them. Now we on to group 3. Getting to group 3 was hard because our notoriety is like so high. But this was not a bad thing. I actually enjoyed it as it made it feel more like we're, fighting the powers that they are. Anyway, so we free the group, and now we conclude that mission. We have freed all of Bart's men, so I guess he'll help us now take down Silvio and his brother. We then arrive at Bart's house, and he thanks us for restoring his house's honor. Because, that's what we were intending. We're not doing it for selfish reasons, Bart. Bart also suggests to take his men and place them around the district to recreate havoc, clearing the way for our assault on Silvio. So that's exactly what we're going to do, because every time they suggest something, that's actually our mission. We kill the first group with ease, and it feels good to be traveling the city with this big group of guys all working together for the same common goal. Kind of reminds me of being a teenager and you travel around with your friends and you feel unstoppable, like the whole city's your playground because no one can touch you. That's what it reminds me of. It's super fun. It also evens the odds because normally the guards outnumber Ezio, but now we are even with the guards, so it's like a cool, battle between these two powers. I'm enjoying myself. Once we get to the second group, we incredibly easily take them out. It wasn't even a challenge. Let's just skip to the third one. The third group we take out with incredible ease again, but this ends the mission. And everyone is now in the place, so it's time to look out for where Silvio is coming from. Silvio, we're coming for you. I also want to point out, it's kind of sad because I was really enjoying that big group push through the city. And I wish I had more time to show you guys, but as we're already approaching 2 hours of video time, I think we'll just keep going a little bit brisker throughout the rest of this. And if you've been here this long, comment pineapple in the comments. I'm just curious. I doubt that anybody's ever going to hear this, but pineapple in the comments. Let's go. Our next mission has us meeting with Bart at his house where he gives us a flare. We are about to do an assault, a full-on assault on Silvio. How exciting! We have to reach the highest point to signal the men to start their assault. So we climb a tower and set off the flare, or in reality, the firework. Short cutscene, and now we have to help Bart off. So off we go. This guy Bart sure seems to need a lot of help, not gonna lie. When we get to Bart, we see Dante fleeing and sending in his reinforcements. We sort these guys out, and then we give chase with Bart. We chase down Dante and engage him. Right before we kill him, Silvia calls him to retreat. Man, this is just getting annoying. Every time we go to fight somebody, they seem to leave. It's just... Ugh. We then re-chase down Dante, but this time we successfully kill him. He would not tell us literally anything other than they are to sail to Cyprus. Amazing. We just spent 40 minutes building up to that. Crazy. We then do another city morph thing where Ezio once again is on a bridge, reminiscing about the decade he has spent chasing down the people who have killed his father, and starting to contemplate whether it's all been worth it, which of course to him it is. Anyway, Rosa says that the boat that left Venice that night with Silvio on it, the night we killed Dante, will return tomorrow. That's very convenient for us. Then Leonardo shows up and asks us to follow him. We walk with Leonardo, but I'm going to let you listen to what he has to say.
I don't know why I never saw it before, but when put together, I realized the markings on the back clarify into words. Here, the prophet will appear when the second piece is brought to the floating city.
Prophet? Only the prophet may open it. 2 pieces of Eden.
What are you saying? Ezio, what is this?
We've known each other a long time, Leonardo. If I can't trust you,
there is nobody. My uncle Mario spoke of it long ago. A prophecy hidden in the Codex, leading to an ancient vault that holds something very powerful.
Grandioso. But if you took these pages from the Barbarigo, then maybe they know about this vault too. That's not good.
Wait. What if that's why they sent the ship to Cyprus? To find this piece of Eden and bring it back to Venezia.
When the second piece is brought to the floating city,
the prophet will appear. Only the prophet can open the vault. My God! When my uncle told me about the Codex, I was too young, too brash to imagine it was anything but an old man's fantasy. But now I see. The killing of Mocenigo, even the Medici, my father and brothers. It was all part of his plan. To find the vault. The Spaniard.
Rodrigo Borgia.
The boat from Cyprus arrives tomorrow. I plan to be there to meet it.
Good luck, my friend.
So, it seems that the Spaniard, the Maestro, or the Pope, or whatever he is, has been playing the long game. He sent the ship to Cyprus to retrieve the piece of Eden that we haven't even been focusing on. We've only been focusing on the apple, which turns out to be the staff. And everyone he killed on the way has helped to achieve that end. So basically, the Maestro's just been playing, chess while we're all playing checkers. I think it's safe to say, though, we are officially in endgame content. So it probably should be wrapping up soon. And if you stayed here this long, I'm glad you're here. So, endgame. First, we must unfog the entire map of Venice, because now it's all unlocked. So after unfogging the map, we are now at 63 out of 73 high points left to do. So we're almost done. That's another good indicator that we are now in endgame, so let's head off and do some of the missions. Our next mission will have us return to the secured dock where we just killed Dante. Once we get there, we will get a cutscene where we see Uncle Mario stalking the same people we are about to go stalk. So that's an interesting turn of events, because Ezio at this point has never even known that Mario was here with him.
Uncle Mario? Where are they taking it?
Our exact task is to capture the cargo from the ship, so that means that Ezio will have to become a cargo carrier in order to accomplish this. He ended up tailing the courier for an ungodly amount of time. Like, this was literally 5 to 7 minutes of just following this courier while doing little things here or there to kill a guard to get past, or sending some ladies of the night to distract the guards. It went on for so long. I hate follow missions, and I hate them even more when they're drug out just simply to pad timing. This game is good. You didn't need to add all this super long filler stuff. I don't need to follow the same courier to a secured location for literally almost 10 minutes. It was way too long, it lasted forever, and it was super annoying. But we get it done and we arrive at the secured location where we can now try to replace the guard.
Do it now.
The Spaniards here? That changes things.
Ezio has to become the courier and to take the box over to the Maestro, the secret meeting. After a few confused attempts, we end up being able to kill the courier and take their place. It was actually really hard because there's a lot of guards in here and it's not really well defined on how to get in here. I ended up just going to the river and then just kind of running in and, kind of tricking the system so I didn't have to keep repeating myself. We then have to carry the box to the Maestro. I like this. We get to see the world as a guard rather than just as an assassin constantly being chased. We see how the citizens move away from the guards. We see how it feels to be in this big group. And once we reach the Maestro, we will then have to kill the lead guard in front of us, which is kind of neat because he never expected you to be there, which is the whole reason you're an assassin. We're always an assassin. We're in a bright white cloak in a city that's filled with muted colors. So now we get to be a guard who's wearing muted colors and actually do some real assassination stuff. We then confront the prophet, and he screams that he is the prophet. We are not, and he will kill us. So, time to fight.
It's been some time. No, leave him to me.
Rodrigo. So, where is he?
Who?
Your prophet. Doesn't look like anybody showed up, Rodrigo. How many people have died for these? For what's in this box? And look, there's nobody here.
You claim not to be a believer, and yet here you are. Don't you see him? The prophet is already here. I am the prophet. Now give me the apple.
Come and take it from me.
We end up fighting the Maestro for a bit before he calls the guards because he can't handle our super coolness. And the guards will show up. So now we have to fight the guards and the Maestro. Then, as if it is the 90s feel-good movie, every character who we have met and helped throughout this entire game, except for Catherine from Foley, shows up to literally fight the Maestro and his gang of men.
Uncle!
Don't worry, Nipote. You are not alone.
Volpe? What are you doing here?
We could very well ask you the same thing.
We?
Save your questions, brother. Don't let Bodja leave with that box. Avanti!
So it's kind of cool, but also kind of like cringe, because like if they were there the whole time, why didn't they all help us the whole time? Like, you know, get the piece of Eden and, you know, take out the Maestro. We could have sped up this whole process a lot if they just chose to help us the whole time. But no, they had to do this like secret 90s movie thing.
This is for my father. Paula.
He's gone, but we have what we came for.
No. I need to go after him.
Do you really now? Or are you here for another reason, my son?
Theodora? What? What are you all doing here?
Perhaps the same thing you are, Ezio. Hoping to see the Prophet appear.
I came here to kill the Spaniard. I couldn't care less about your Prophet. He never showed up.
No? But you did.
What?
A Prophet's arrival was foretold. And unbeknownst to us, here you are. Perhaps all along, you were the one we sought.
Cosa? Who are you?
Niccolò di Bernardo de Machiavelli. I am an assassin, trained in the ancient ways to safeguard mankind's evolution. Just like you, and each one of us here.
You are all assassins? Paola? Volpe?
It's true, Nipote. We have all been guiding you for years, teaching you the skills you would need to join our ranks. I think it's time.
We have our prize, but there is much to be done. Come, meet us here at sunset.
Lashea waka umutlak bel kulun munkin. These are the words spoken by our ancestors that lay at the heart of our creed.
Where other men blindly follow the truth, remember.
Nothing is true.
Where other men are limited by morality or law, remember.
Everything is permitted.
We work in the dark to serve the light. We are assassins.
Nothing is true.
Everything is permitted.
It is time, Ezio. In this modern age, we are not so literal as our ancestors, but our seal is no less permanent. Are you ready to join us?
I am.
This only hurts for a while, brother. Like so many things.
Benvenuto, Ezio. You are one of us now. Come, we have much to do.
Oh, so we are the chosen one, eh? Well, time to do a leap of faith with our newfound assassins people who have been helping us this entire time and never really hid their identity, but then decided to do this gotcha moment where they showed us, hey, we're assassins, and we were like, whoa! Oh, this video is getting long and I'm getting crazy. After we do our leap of faith, we are then ripped out of the Animus, only for Desmond to go, no, F that, put me back in. This is just getting good. Like, thank God, Desmond. Thank you, Desmond.
Are you okay? Do you want to stop?
No, I need to go back, right now.
We then get this monologue by Sean.
Oh dear.
Sean?
Of course. How could I have forgotten?
You want to share with the rest of us?
Rodrigo Borgia is elected Pope in 1492, which means Ezio's greatest enemy is now also the most powerful man in Italy.
Always wanted to visit the Vatican.
Well, your luck's in, Desmond. Happy days. Because that's exactly where you're going.
Now we have a cutscene where the assassins are looking at the apple. They're kind of like confused, like, oh my god, what is this thing? It's super fancy and new. And Ezio then hits it because, you know, if it doesn't work, hit it, causing the symbols to flash at random. We are then told to take the apple to Forli, I think that's how you pronounce it, and have Katrina protect it within her city walls. Because apparently Forli has never been sieged or taken because she's too powerful. Remember that.
On the Earth. It's fabricated with materials that shouldn't exist. And yet, this is clearly a very ancient artifact.
The Codex refers to it as a piece of Eden.
The Spaniard. He called it the apple.
Like Eve's apple, of forbidden knowledge. Are you then suggesting that this thing... This must never fall into the wrong hands. It would drive weaker minds insane.
No doubt the Spaniard will be relentless in his desire to gain it back.
Ezio, you must protect this with all the skills we have taught you.
Take it to Forli. The citadel is walled, protected by cannons, and our ally controls it.
Who is this ally?
Her name is Caterina Sforza.
You don't say. I think I may enjoy this mission. Thank you for everything, my oldest friend.
Leonardo, Ezio tells me you travel often to Milano. I have a grand villa in Toscana. You must come visit me there.
After a cutscene, we are on the shores of Forli. We then meet Katrina again, and we walk with her to the city. She explains she killed her husband, and then she explains that she will keep the apple safe here, within her city walls. Because this lady who is certainly stable, not at all crazy, will definitely keep this massively powerful apple safe. We then immediately learn that the city is under attack, as if, you know, we were lied to by our Assassin's Guild, this, you know, ancient order who have built this network of things to protect. Of course, we will now have to save Forli, the city that is supposed to be unsiegeable.
Aspetta. What's happening?
They came as soon as you left the city walls, Signora. The city is under attack.
What? By who?
The Orsi brothers, Signora.
Oh, sangue di Giuda.
Who are the Orsi?
The same canaglia I hired to kill my husband.
It's the Spaniard, of course. The Orsi have no worldview bigger than their purse.
But how could he know where we were taking the apple before we even knew?
Because they're not here for the apple, Ezio. They're after Riario's map.
Basta with your map, Nicolo. My children are inside. Oh, porco demonio.
We run to the gates of the city, fighting enemies as we go in this massive group of noble people and queens and assassins and just regular folk fighting off this attacking army. We then have to use the old tunnel to breach the city walls, so we swim around the lake and under a gate. The tunnel is actually a gate. I don't know why they called it a tunnel at all. And then we just swim under it. This super protected city just has this like gate that stops at the water line, and you just go on it. Oh, good choice, Assassin's Guild. Once in the city, we will work our way to the gate once again. We'll have to fight a few guards along the way, but for the most part, they're not too big of an issue. Though, as in the beginning of the game, the people, the merchants, are still here going, hey, come get my goods, come buy my goods. Discounts for you, friend. Oh, well, there's an entire war going on. We literally will actually fight at one point during this this little town siege, this city siege. We're right in front of a blacksmith that's literally trying to sell us goods while we're killing guards in front of his stall. Like, we are touching his stall. It's just a weird vibe. Like, they could have had it where when they attacked, when, you know, there's these big city sieges where there's these big, like, I don't know, stepping stone, milestone moments within the game where the city just closes. You know, the shopkeepers pull down their little gates or close their shutters and stuff like that. Why are they slinging me goods while there's literally a fight going on? They don't know if I'm going to live. I'm supposed to stop, pull out my purse, hand them coin? No! We then open the gate and work our way through the city, moving as one big unit again, fighting as one unit. I love these moments where there's just these big groups of people fighting big groups of people. You feel empowered. It is a really cool scene and could have been amazing.
Expensive, but my goods are worth the extra money. I've never seen merchandise.
If the shopkeepers would shut up, why are they slinging goods in the middle of a war? Yes, they'll make the profit, but you don't normally sell to people getting killed. Like, oh, I just got stabbed. Can I buy a dagger? I want to stab him back. Ugh. We get Katrina to her kids. Well, not really. We are then tasked with saving the Citadel. We have to kill a set number of people. We do this, and then the brothers show up, stating that they have taken away Katrina's children.
Caterina! Caterina Sforza! I know you're in there! I have something you may want back! Are you missing any children? And Ezio Auditore! What a pleasant surprise!
I take it you would be the Orsi brothers.
Ludovico and Gecko, at your service.
Basta! Where are my children? Let them go!
Of course, Signora. We'll happily give them back for something of yours. A certain map and a certain apple, brother. See, a certain apple indeed. Or shall I slice your baby's necks ear to ear?
Bastardi! You think you can threaten me? I'll give you nothing! You want my children? Take them! I have the instrument to make more!
When you change your mind, they'll be in the village outside the city. You have 1 hour.
Caterina, no. I can't ask you to sacrifice your children.
Nobody's sacrificing anything. Go get them back for me, Ezio.
See, you have my word. The apple needs to remain in the Citadel. Keep this safe.
They then said that they will kill Katrina's children if she does not give up the map and the piece of Eden. Which Katrina responds kind of like, not good? Like Mother of the Year award. Katrina then asks Ezio to save her children after literally saying they can die. We will find the daughter tied up by a house. She states that her brother was taken to a lighthouse and tied up. These aren't hard fights. It's just they're kind of spread out, and I hate that. I don't want to travel so long when there's this big war happening. I'd rather do more in the Citadel than out here with these kids. We will go to the lighthouse and we'll get the brother on top of the lighthouse, and Ezio will then kill one of the brothers. This brother alludes to the fact that they're part of a bigger plan to steal a map and an apple. He's basically the sacrificial lamb in a bigger story. So we have to go back to Katrina.
Now you're giving me a headache. Katerina was a fool to send you.
Or are you the fool, dying for a handful of change? Was it worth it?
More than you know. The maestro gains his price because of me.
Muori col tuo orgoglio, per quanto vale. Requiescat in pace.
There is this new symbol on the map called a special memory, so we go check that out. It's like a little bonus flying mission. It has really no story implications, so I'm just going to carry on with the real story. The next mission has us seeing Katrina running out of the Citadel, and she informs us that the other brother has stolen the apple, so we have to give chase. Of course the other brother did. Oh my god, why did the Assassin's Guild send us here? This lady has absolutely no powers and no ability to maintain her city. Like, good choice, guys. Good choice. Glad I joined the order. We will have to chase down the brother, and we will kill him relatively easy. Though the brother did get one over on us, and he stabbed us, kind of like Batman. And we passed out from one stab wound. We can stab so many people, but we get stabbed once, it's over. We pass out. We end up dropping the apple, and an old man with a missing pinky finger picks it up. So that sucks.
So, you have your prize again.
Was it worth it? So much bloodshed.
A prize of such value. It will not remain yours for long.
We shall see. Che miserie nascono dall'avidità. Requiescat in pace.
It's like you...
Don't. Who are you? Stop. Don't open it.
We awake with a new beard, and Kadrina gives us a map and tells us the location where the monks in the black robes hang out. Like, what a change in events. It was like crazy action-packed scenes, too. We slept for days because we got stabbed one time, and now we have a literal beard, and we have to go find monks. So, we set off to the abbey where the black monks hang out. We start by saving a monk, and we tell him we are looking for a monk that only has 9 fingers. He says to go talk to Abbot. I also want to point out, while we were passed out from our stab wounds, the noble woman who rules this dimension, this realm, or whatever you call it, this territory, could have simply just gone and done this herself, or gotten her guards to, at the very least. Or, because she's linked to the Assassin's Guild, called in some of them to come do this. Maybe Lavolpe, maybe Antonio, maybe even Uncle Mario could have came to help with this very problem while we were passed out. Nope. We head back to the city of Florley, or however you pronounce this, to go to that abbey to talk to Abbot. Abbot can be found talking to a group of monks. There's a lot of abbots and abbeys in this part of this game. As soon as we approach Abbot, he yells that we had killed Stefano, who is another monk. Of course we did. He was bad. We ask about the 9-fingered monk, the monk we will refer to as Savan, because he has a long name, and we are told that he will go do his hermitage, or whatever it is. He's going to go live by himself, so we have to return to Florentine. Ezio will then arrive in Florentine, and our mission starts right away. We have to meet with Machiavelli in the Altarno district. I can't pronounce these words, as I am a fat-tongued Canadian. So off we go. As we work our way through the city, we hear the town folks talking about the oppression the monks have caused. The lead monk who took our apple has caused a massive amount of oppression. You can actually see it, like, within the city. You can tell the vibe has changed within Florentine. We also see fights everywhere. It is as if the city is tearing itself apart between the people and the religion. It's kind of an interesting dynamic when you look at it literally. It's literally religion and a powerful relic of, like, you know, the past versus the people of the modern world. And it's just like tearing the city apart. We find Machiavelli on a bridge. We escort Machiavelli to the city center while he tells us that the city leaders are under Savan's control. So the plan is to kill Savan, or maybe it'll be easier just to distract him. We haven't decided yet. We will travel around the city killing different lieutenants. Now, when I tell you this is the longest mission that I did in this entire game, I am not joking. Every other mission up to this point, between, you know, starting, clearing the city, and taking out the lead guy, was about an hour. An hour per target that we killed. Sometimes a little faster, sometimes a little longer. This one mission, where all we're doing is building up to killing Savan, takes us 2.5 hours because each lieutenant has his own set of parameters you have to kill him by. It also has its own location, which is usually across the entire city. There's a cutscene before and after each one. And some of them are ridiculously hard. Like the boat one took me, no joke, an hour and 15 minutes to do, and I had to look up a tutorial on how to do it. Even with that tutorial, because the AI randomly will spot you sometimes, it took me literally 2.5 hours to complete this one set of missions. It's nuts. This is like Anthem's time wall that you hit partway through, where it's like, go do the temples or whatever, and then it's just like, it just grinds and grinds and grinds and grinds. This is what this felt like. This was not an enjoyable mission. I've been doing this review now for almost 2 weeks. I've been breaking it down, editing and everything, and I have been dreading this part because I had to edit through a 2-hour-long video. Okay, we got to break this down really fast with these lieutenant killings because it's a 2.5-hour-long video, okay? First, we kill the preacher. The preacher's fairly easy to kill. We just shoot him from the middle of a group of people. We then kill the merchant. The merchant was so hard to kill because he's on a boat and you got to do all this fancy stuff. There's lots of tutorials on YouTube if you want to see what the actual mission is. Just know it's incredibly frustrating. We then kill the farmer by, sneaking around the farm until eventually we kill him too. We then kill the nobleman. The next lieutenant we kill is the captain of the guard. After the captain of the guard, we kill the medicine man, or the doctor as we like to call him. We now have to kill the artist. We head off to kill the guy blocking the bridge. He did not have a funny name, so we just call him Guy Blocking a Bridge. Even though he didn't have a cool name, he's dead. Time to kill the last guy, who is the singing priest. The singing priest was also a hard one because you have to climb a very specific path to the top of this tower, and you cannot be seen by a single guard. If you are, immediately restart, and you're all the way back down to the bottom. But eventually we do kill him too. Okay, we just broke down 2 hours of footage in a minute and 10 seconds. Well, that is a wrap on killing the lieutenant's mission. We broke that down super fast. This mission was crazy long, and it took me over 2 hours to complete. Granted, the boat took up about an hour and 15 minutes of that, but it was still quite long. I don't know how to feel about this mission. Like, on one hand, I enjoyed the length, and each person we killed required a different assassin skill, whether that be climbing, fighting, or stealth, or even just using our gun. Right? It was a very long mission, though. And after a while, it started to feel very similar to Anthem's 2 missions, where it just kind of seemed like a time wall, where it was you were going to complete it eventually as long as you just did the time. I don't know how to feel about it. I liked it, but I didn't like it. Maybe it's up to you. You guys can always go back and play, or if you guys want me to release the full unedited footage, I'll release that too. But it took 2.5 hours for me to do this. After a while, I was like, these guys offer real no story benefit, and they're just kind of fillers on our way to the main bad guy. Take it however you want, but that's how I felt about it, is I'm torn. It's good and bad. After assassinating the lieutenants, we go back and meet Machiavelli, who is listening to a monk yell at the people of the city, "Why aren't you listening to me?" as he holds up the apple that we are looking for. Ezio then throws a throwing knife at the monk's hand, knocking the apple out. The people then grab at the monk and drag him away, and then a guard runs up and takes the apple. Don't worry, we kill that guard and get the apple back. It's just yet another chase sequence. The next mission starts with the monk being burned alive, but Ezio wants him to die, not by fire, but by himself. It's also kind of like a mercy killing. So Ezio kind of saves Savan, but also kills him. So there's that. Here, you guys can watch Ezio's speech. I've talked enough.
Silenzio! Silenzio! 22 years ago, I stood where I stand now and watched my loved ones die, betrayed by those I had called friends. Vengeance clouded my mind. It would have consumed me, were it not for the wisdom of a few strangers who taught me to look past my instincts. They never preached answers, but guided me to learn from myself. We don't need anyone to tell us what to do. Not Savonarola, not the Medici. We are free to follow our own path. There are those who will take that freedom from us. Too many of you gladly give it. But it is our ability to choose whatever you think is true that makes us human. There is no book or teacher to give you the answers, to show you the path. Choose your own way. Do not follow me. Or anyone else.
That's so nice. It's so cool, actually. Like a nice little bow put on it by Ezio. That's exactly what we've been trying to do this whole game. We are then brought back to the villa, or well, our uncle's villa, and we have to go bring our uncle the codex pages that we've been gathering throughout this mission that I haven't showed you, but I have been doing it. When we get there, all the assassins from the Assassin Order who have literally helped me, not at the beginning, not in the middle, and definitely not at the end of this game, are there. They are waiting, but first, let's take the last seal down to the Assassin's Shrine so you guys can see that we have also done that. And we can get Altair's armor, which is pretty neat. We place the seal in the seal thing, and the game hard crashes. Hopefully we don't lose much progress. Hopefully we don't have to kill lieutenants. Oh, we lost no progress at all, but we did break the cutscene because now Ezio is standing within bars grabbing Altair's armor. Anyway, we look cooler now, so let's go meet with those assassins. We start the phase by talking to our uncle. Then we place the codex pages on the wall and we rearrange them using our eagle vision. It obviously makes a map of the Earth, but we're missing a page. Ezio then places the apple in front of the map, and like Sean said, the Spaniard is now the Pope. So Ezio just learned that, and he has gone and gotten the staff. So we must stop the Spaniard from getting into the vault. We can't let him get into there because who knows what he will learn. Or get. Bum bum bum! So we head off to Rome. Our first mission in Rome is to break into the Sistine Chapel. Not really a big deal, kind of easy. You know, it's just where the Pope resides, so simple task, simple task. So we climb the wall of one of the world's most precious buildings, eliminate the guards on the ramparts tower. Then Ezio works his way through the ramparts, killing guards and opening doors. We then find a horse for some reason at the top of the Sistine Chapel, and we race across the ramparts, knocking soldiers off and soaring through the towers. Like, what? Shh. We are now in a stealth sequence. We have to sneak by the guards, hide among the priests who have all worked within the Sistine Chapel for their entire lives. And we can't, they just let us sneak in with them, and we kill some guards in front of them, all while sneaking and unlocking the doors. But be very, very quiet. We hunting popes. Oh, did I mention that we can't be detected? You can't be detected. Shh. After working our way through that stealth sequence, we now get to kill the Spaniard, the Pope, or the Maestro, however you want to talk about it. He's just giving a sermon, and there's a bunch of people there, but the only caveat is we cannot be detected. Why? Like, we came this far. We've killed so many people. Like, why wouldn't we just finish it? Well, that did not go as planned, so I guess we'll try again.
Ex patre natum ante omnia saecula. Deum de Deo, lumen de lumine, Deum verum de Deo verum.
Well, that did not go as planned, so I guess we'll try again. We decide to shoot him with our gun instead. It just seemed easier. Can't get detected. We're way up above him. Just bang, done deal.
Deum de Deo.
I thought I was beyond this. But I'm not. I've waited too long. Lost too much. Requiescat in pace, you bastard.
I don't think so.
So that didn't go as expected. Like, what's going on here, man? What?
How is it you resist? I see. Kind of you to bring me the apple. Now give it here!
Vaya farti fottere.
Oh, as the fighter. Just like your father. Well, rejoice, my child. For you will see him again soon. You will give it to me.
As you wish.
Fascinating. An impressive power, this. But if you think it's going to save you, you've another thing coming. How long do you think you can keep this up? You are right to fear me. You cannot stop me. I'll cut you down, assassin! A clever trick, but useless. I'll cut you down, assassin! A clever trick, but useless. No, you will not take this from me.
It's finished, Rodrigo. Lay down your arms, and I will make sure the end comes swiftly.
Really, Ezio? And would you give up so easily were it the other way around? Why don't we find out? At last. And now, to deal with you.
Okay, so we beat this guy for literally the 4th time in this game alone, and he still gets away. This guy's not just spongy boss. He's a literal sponge. He's just soaking in all that assassin damage, and he's just like, nope. And he just runs every time. And for a big guy, he can move. So we now have to find the secret passage. It's easy enough. Hit the 2 buttons on either side. We find the path. We walk down this futuristic hallway, looking at what we've never seen before in our lives. In a world filled with stone buildings and, cobblestone streets, this weirdly futuristic, smooth-surfaced room does not faze Ezio at all. We find the Pope at the end, and we challenge him to a good old fisticuffs, you see? And of course, we win. And of course, we stand over him, ready to murder him. But we do not kill him, because we have grown as a character. For some reason, we decide not to kill this guy after killing hundreds of people to get here.
It's my destiny! Mine! I am the prophet!
You never were.
Get it over with, then.
No. Killing you won't bring my family back. I'm done. Nulla è reale. Tutto è lecito. Requiescat in pace.
Ezio then places the staff in the center of the room, and it opens up another room. Then this happens.
Greetings, Prophet. It is good you have come. Let us see it, to give thanks. We must speak.
Who are you?
Many names. When I died, it was Minerva. Before that, Merva and Mera, and on and on. The others too. Juno, who was before called Uni. Jupiter, who was before called Tinia.
You are gods.
No, not gods. We simply came before. Even when we walked the world, your kind struggled to understand our existence. We were more advanced in time. Your minds were not yet ready. Still not. Maybe never. No matter. You may not comprehend us, but you will comprehend our warning. You must.
None of what you are saying makes sense.
Our words are not meant for you.
What are you talking about? There's no one else here.
Enough. I do not wish to speak with you, but through you. You are the prophet. You've played your part. You anchor him, but please be silent, that we may commune. Listen. When we were still flesh and our home still whole, your kind betrayed us. We who made you. We who gave you life. We were strong, but you were many, and both of us craved war. So busy were we with earthly concerns, we failed to notice the heavens. And by the time we did, the world burned until naught remained but ash. It should have ended then and there. But we built you in our own image. We built you to survive. And so we did. Few were our numbers. Your kind and mine. It took sacrifice, strength, compassion. But we rebuilt. And as life returned to the world, we endeavored to ensure this tragedy would not be repeated. But now, we are dying, and time will work against us. Truth turned into myth and legend. What we built, misunderstood. Let my words preserve the message and make a record of our loss. But let my words also bring hope. You must find the other temples, built by those who knew to turn away from war. They worked to protect us, to save us from the fire. If you can find them, if their work can be saved, so too might this world. Be quick, for time grows short, and guard against the cross, for there are many who will stand in your way. It is done. The message is delivered. We are gone now from this world. All of us. We can do no more. The rest is up to you, Desmond.
What? Who is Desmond? I don't understand. Please, wait. I have so many questions.
Oh. That's the end of the game? Really? That's the end of the game? No! I was just getting into this. Oh, wait. No, it's not. Sorry. Stay. Don't leave your likes and comments and subscribes yet. Or do. I don't mind. So, the Templars have found us in the real world, and we must help Lucy fight them off while the others escape. Oh, hey, Dr. Warren! Oh, man, I'm losing it, guys. So we fight Lucy, Desmond, private military of Templars, and Dr. Warren. And we destroy the private military, but then Dr. Warren climbs into his super cool U-Haul truck. I don't know what it is with this game, but they let Dr. Warren get away again. So we get to listen to Desmond and Lucy talk while the credits roll for a bit here.
Miles, temporary as it is.
Desmond, we have to go!
There you are.
The gist of what they talk about is that there is hints that the sun may have caused a catastrophic geological event in the past, where those ancient people from earlier with the hologram were talking about. That was what they were trying to help us, the nowadays people, avoid. Well, Ezio time people avoid, but then they also gave the warning Desmond, so it technically kind of like just went throughout the ages. And that the ancient civilization may have left clues on how to survive this catastrophic event within Desmond's memories. Well, really not just Desmond's, all of our memories, and we just simply have to unlock them. Well, viewers, this has been Assassin's Creed 2. Man, that was a long one. We definitely need to figure out a system to get these reviews a little shorter, but I want to give you all the content that was within the game, played as, true to form as I did back when I was playing the game, as well as give you the entire story in one video rather than you guys having to go to multiple videos to see the same thing. But hey, if this is what it takes to get what you guys need to see and what I want to get out, then I'll do it. If it takes 2 weeks of editing, then I'll do it. You guys just witnessed, by the way, 2 weeks of my time. Not just game time. I played the game already. Then I have to write a script. I have to go over all my footage. Then I have to edit that footage and break it down while also recording the audio separate to the actual video. So what you guys just witnessed, just the editing for this video, which is pretty simple. I just do a lot of quick cuts just so we can get going along. Took me 2 weeks. All right? But we need to break down this review and get this over with. In the As I Remembered series, we go back and we play games from my childhood and or earlier adulthood, basically in a game that's over 5 years old. And we rank them on a scale of 1 to 5. 1 being, the game is nothing like I remember, and 5 being, it's everything that I remembered. We are not ranking or reviewing the game itself. Though we may talk about the different issues or the different problems within the game as we play through, those do not affect my ranking. This is a review of my memory of the game, not of the game itself. So with that being said, I give Assassin's Creed 2 a 4 out of 5. Assassin's Creed 2 was almost a perfect 5 out of 5, but those follow quests and escort quests did it for me. I know for a fact that I loved Assassin's Creed 2, but I also would have remembered that I hate follow quests, and there is a lot of them in this game. Way too many, and they go for way too long for me to have forgotten about that. Though, 4 to 5 is still really good, and I think you should definitely go back and try it if you're interested in replaying a franchise. Assassin's Creed is good, even 1, though keep in mind that with 1, the controls are archaic. Even 2, sometimes you get a little frustrated with them. But it's still a good game, and you should definitely try it if you want to. Well, this review has been long enough, so let's wrap it up. I've been your host, Mr.Flatfaceyt, the man of many faces and even more opinions, and this has been my As I Remembered series, with Assassin's Creed being the featured video. Though, the next installment in this series is either going to be Baldur's Gate or Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. You could always let me know in the comments down below which you would rather see. With that, Assassin's Creed 2 was almost exactly as I remembered, and I will see you in the next one. Have a great day. Oh, like, comment, and subscribe. Bye!